They like the chaos.
They like the chaos. So when you're able to
chaos,
let that chaos reign with
chaos,
let that chaos reign with
chaos,
let that chaos reign with
must reign.
Yep. This is not something you can change and fix today. Nope. The reality of this problem is that it's going to be a multi-generational fix, and it starts with what we value, and we need to stop valuing career woman, careerism, Sarah Jessica Parker,
How do you sell that?
Sex in the City.
How do you sell that to women?
Well, you don't. See, this is the problem.
So you take away their option to choose.
Nope, it's not like that. The way the world works is based off incentive.
Yeah.
Just like, how are you going to convince the men not to watch porn? You're not. It's addictive, and people have base instincts.
The incentive to have a family that's functional in the future and be a functional adult. That
yeah,
should
but
be an
we've convinced women like you that what they should value is success. Get your bag. Have finances.
I didn't say that. I said
you're 32.
Whatever,
you've been married. You could be married, but you have other values. You don't have children for a reason.
I would assume. Married permanently. I think the single most important decision a person could make is who they decide to have children with.
Sure, I agree.
think that's the most important. And so, yes, I think both men and women should be extremely selective and choosy.
No, you don't give a fuck about that. You don't give a crap about it. Anyhow, welcome, guys. Welcome to another stream. Another looking at this reaction stuff on the Chaos Rain Show. I am Chaos Rain. Part 2. A long conversation between Rachel Wilson and Miss Driena Sixto, the fake blonde Hispanic bimbo, or allegedly, I guess liberal conservative. Let's listen more of this bullish. See Rachel locks her down, breaks her down, and destroys all her little stupid talk points. Let's see Miss Driena put a good fight. No further ado, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and make sure your volume's up. Let's go.
With that decision, because that's going to ultimately determine whether the child grows up in a stable household. So I am not going to pressure women to just have kids as soon as
I'm
they
not
can
talking
for
about
any kind of
pressuring them.
reason.
I'm talking about setting up incentives for the things we want to see.
Yes.
And what we do by
Incentives,
we
good.
give women specifically,
Force, bad.
we give women free college loans. We give them free loans to start businesses. We have done all this affirmative action stuff for the last 50 years to push and push and push and incentivize women to focus on career, focus on joining the workforce, reject motherhood. It's icky. Kids are gross and it's hard, and you don't want to do that. It's going to ruin your body. There's so much anti-motherhood propaganda,
which I'm against,
and the whole pop culture. You can't name a single pop star or movie star who's an influential woman who doesn't have the boss girl, strong woman through your sexuality message. All of them do. Be sexy and hot like me and make your money. And ew, men are gross and they're stupid. And Sabrina Carpenter telling the whole world men are useless.
You're broad, which I disagree with, but again, you're broadly generalizing women this, women that,
I'm saying
most women.
The incentives society-wide through the pop culture, through the education system, through the government, every institution tells women motherhood is for stupid losers and strong woman, sexy girl, boss babe stuff is for winners. And we have to change those incentives. If we truly value family,
but you can't force people
just
to
let me
do
finish.
anything.
Just let me finish. I'm not saying force. I'm saying incentivize. You should know this if you work in politics.
Sure.
If we incentivize people to come across the border because they're going to get free shit, we're going to get more of that.
Agreed.
You get more of whatever you incentivize, and you get less of whatever you stigmatize. We need to stigmatize sexy girl boss babe stuff. We need to by taking back the institutions and the culture.
How?
That's what you said, right?
Yeah, how are you going to do that?
By me going on these podcasts and writing books and talking to people like you. And now there's a bunch
they
of
shouldn't vote. that's how you're gonna get them to go back to.
Do you know how many women actually don't want to vote? It's a lot.
Okay,
you would be shocked.
Yeah, I'm sure, but it's not
There's
the
a lot
majority.
they just don't care that much.
I
The
think
truth is, whenever we have a dating panel, Brian,
the majority of women.
most of the girls, when you say, no,
vote.
I don't want to vote. If you say to all the, can you let me talk?
They're
Let Rachel finish,
curated.
please.
They're not curated.
Wait, what do you mean?
She's saying that you specifically pick girls. This is what everybody thinks about the podcast. And I wish this was true because I'm so black-pilled and I wish I wasn't. But all the young women I speak to, not just here, but on other podcasts and other debates that I do, you ask them who they voted for, they usually haven't. They usually don't vote until they're older and married.
It doesn't matter who
Some
you
of the
spoke to on a
college radicals
podcast.
do.
The facts are that a majority of women vote and do care about voting because they vote Republican, because they vote Democrat, and because they voted more than men have.
I'm not, what I'm telling you is I'm not trying to convince women the way that you're thinking. I'm talking about systemic incentive. I'm saying do things like what Hungary did, where if you have 3 or more children, you never pay taxes again.
Okay.
We make marriage an ecclesiastical governed thing again, where it's no longer this no-fault government bullshit that you want. Absolutely not. You go to your church.
That I want? What's the thing that I want?
You like government marriage with prenuptial agreements and no-fault divorce.
I believe that the government should have never gotten into marriages.
Okay, who should have governed marriage then?
I believe
Who?
that. I believe
If the
that.
government
Let me finish
doesn't-
because you just told me you believe this and this and that, and it's
what you've
inaccurate.
said, and
it's inaccurate. I believe in people being able to get out of bad marriages. Absolutely.
Do you think they couldn't before?
Without certain legal protections. Let's say that you are in a marriage where you have domestic violence, domestic abuse, but you don't have the money to get a lawyer because there's usually financial abuse involved as well. So there's no way for you to even
Financial
prove. So
abuse.
there's usually no
Is there
way.
emotional abuse too?
So there's no way. No, I actually have the data on that too. So there's
I'm
no
sure.
way for you to prove that you're being abused, and so that goes against their rights. And I don't want women to be stuck in bad marriages. So
do you know how many
yes,
marriages?
I agree.
Do you know how
with-
many women were granted
being-
divorce in the year 1900? So this
No,
is
and
before
I don't
the
care.
19th, before no fault.
And I don't care because
well,
it's
I'm going to tell you,
it's irrelevant to the point that I'm making, which is
55,700 divorces in the year
Fantastic.
1900. You can't tell me that
Means-
women couldn't get divorces. Yes, they
means
could.
Good. I'm not saying
They just didn't because it was highly stigmatized, it wasn't practical, and the incentives were not there. And what we've built now is a system that incentivizes divorce, it incentivizes waiting till your 30s to even start a family, and that's what needs to change. So we need to shift it and make it cool again.
To get married.
We
Yes.
need to make it cool
I
to get
agree.
married young, to stay together.
agree.
We should not be allowing or glorifying OnlyFans chicks, Instagram bikini babes, all that shit needs to go.
I absolutely agree with all of that. It's something that I practice in my personal life, obviously. But again, the answer, the solution to things is never to do anything by force or by taking away options, right? Do we want strong marriages? Yes. Do we want divorces? No. Do we think that it's a good idea to ban divorces so that people are stuck in abusive relationships?
Do you think I want a
Bad.
divorce ban? Or do you think
Bad.
because that's not what I want. What I want is where you have, like we always had for all of human history until 50 years ago, if you want a divorce, ideally it should be through your church. You should have to go to your ecclesiastical authority. So I'm an Orthodox Christian. If Andrew and I know a woman that this happened to, that there was actually legitimate horrific abuse. She went to her priest and to her bishop, and she said, this is what's going on. She had other people who were willing to say, yes, we think this is going on. She was granted a divorce because of the extremeness of the situation. What we have now...
What does that have to do with the kids? What happens with the kids? What happens with dividing assets that they both had? Is the church, does it have any kind of dominion over those kinds of decisions?
Yes, so
it does not.
No, historically, this is
does
how
not now.
But what we're talking about is prescriptions, and I'm telling you the way we fix this is if my church governed my marriage, the church would say, okay, we're going to help take care of you financially. This is what used to happen under most churches. If there was a situation where the woman was abandoned, abused, say the husband was crazy, violent, any of these things that's like...
Cheats?
It depends. That depends.
Would you be okay?
From a religious perspective.
Do you believe it's okay, or do you believe that people should stay in marriages when the other person is cheats on them or commits adultery?
Well, so adultery can be a reason for divorce. It depends, and that's a personal thing that you have to go through with your spiritual father, because
that's the number one cause of divorce, by the way, in this country. Yes, it is.
No, the number one reason that women give for why they leave is growing apart, irreconcilable differences. We just don't get along. Infidelity is more like number 3 or number 4. I've researched this quite a lot as well, and I've had this debate multiple times. It's usually like 3rd, 4th, or 5th on the list, depending on what survey you look at.
Number 1 on the list.
No, it's not.
Government.
Infidelity is not number 1. Absolutely not. It's like 3rd or 4th on the list. But from a religious perspective, of course, it's immoral. We don't say cheating is okay. We don't say cheating is good. But it doesn't automatically mean that in every case of infidelity, you must divorce.
Sorry about that, guys. The guy got cool. So Rachel, Miss Deandra said infidelity is the leading cause of divorce. Really? Let's put that to the acid test, shall we? Let's look it up, because this stupid chick does not know what the hell she's talking about. One moment, guys. Let's keep playing as I discover this. Let's go.
I know couples, and everybody knows couples where they've worked past that. Now, if it's a serial, if it's a serial problem, or if there's a good reason, there's a lot of factors. This is a personal thing. This is why it shouldn't be done through the government. It should be done through the church, through your priest and your bishop who know you and know your situation and can mediate disagreements, because you don't just break up a family for any reason.
Just one of the many things.
Brian, you can go ahead and look it up if you want to. Top reasons for divorce.
2003 found that when divorced individuals are asked open-endedly to provide their reasons for divorce, the most cited reasons were infidelity, 21.6%, incompatibility, 19.2%, drinking or drug use, which I also agree with, 10.6%. In most studies, infidelity is the number one reason.
You would have to give me your source, and I would have to look at it. It's most likely going to be a survey. It's going to be most likely a survey of about 100 to 300 people.
This is from the NIH.
Really wants me to go through here.
.gov.
And we do have to differentiate between, for example, surveys and what is actually cited in the legal divorce proceedings.
You were wrong.
Where?
Right here. So the results of the study, reasons for divorce. Table 1 presents the major contributors for divorce list. Overall, the results indicate that the most often cited reasons for divorce at the individual level were lack of commitment, 75%.
Another pretty word for infidelity.
That's not infidelity. Lack of commitment means you don't think the person is fully in it with you. That's what that means.
Sure.
Because, if you kept reading, the next one down the list is infidelity. So the first reason in this particular study, which I'll have to go over it, but the number 1 is lack of commitment. That 75% for lack of commitment. So the majority is, I feel like he's not really trying, like I'm really trying.
That's the definition you're giving it.
Infidelity is
commitment itself
59%, and too much conflict and arguing, 57%. So people can give multiple reasons. So what you're getting with these is, we already had a problem. We already were fighting, and then one or both of us cheated. It does not say he cheated on her. It says infidelity. That could mean they both cheated. So one thing I've noticed about you is you're actually not very good at reading data and interpreting it. You're not actually good at reading a study and understanding what it says.
No, first thing there says lack of commitment. And
and you interpreted that as infidelity when the next one on the list.
Is it not?
That does not mean there was infidelity. See what I mean?
Might I just offer clarification from what I looked up? So there's 2 different categories. So now, commitment to loyalty or faithfulness could be a thing, but Rachel is correct.
They wouldn't separate it into 2 categories
there's
if they
2
meant
different
the same
categories.
thing.
Lack of commitment is one category. infidelity, cheating is another, so extramarital affairs. But so under lack of commitment, it describes it as when the partner stops trying, they feel unappreciated, or decide the relationship is no longer a priority. So I guess in this context, lack of commitment doesn't necessarily imply a infidelity or
As well.
cheating
Gotcha.
necessarily.
That's
It could just be
by the way, that's
together
the
with the
exact
other
same
one.
data that I cited in a portion. We just did a whole brand new debate course on debateuniversity.com, and all you guys who bought part 1, you can get a big discount on part 2, which is all about debating feminism. And in my section, I use that same data to argue my position. So that's how I knew that she was wrong on that and that she was kind of misreading or twisting
The original question and point was, do you believe that women or just people in a marriage that suffer infidelity from the other partner should not be able to divorce their
No,
partner?
I would never say that you should never be able to. It depends. I wouldn't say that every instance of infidelity must necessitate divorce, though, either.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying should they be able to?
Sometimes.
So
It depends.
Sometimes.
Yes.
You do sometimes.
All right. This is why I use certain tools. I've used many tools to really do the stupid fact check about what's the leading cause of divorce in the United States of America. Hope you guys can hear me. I'm trying to bear with my voice a little bit, and please like the stream. This stupid chick, Deandra, very stupid. As she goes to the stores, and this is what I could tell: the relationship she's with, your man probably is fucking behind your back. We know it for a fact. Facts. Or anybody deal with your biggest concern is this thing called infidelity. Let's look at many tools that I looked up about this thing. One thing it says here, and I'm gonna use one AI, Copilot. That's one. And I'm gonna use some other sources, but it says here, and this is the one first source. Everybody said we should not be using these sources, but this is more a rundown because they go through a screening process. And we got to really look at what it said and then really analyze what it said. The top confirmed leading cause of death of divorce. Number 1, constant arguing, conflict, 65%. The cause, 65% of divorcing couples list constant arguing or conflict as the primary reason. Communication, breakdown, emotional disconnect, and unresolved conflicts repeated appears as the strongest predictor of divorce. Number 2, lack of communication. 60 to 65%. Same thing. Well, it's a little bit different, but most of the same. Multiple studies show lack of communication as a central theme behind marital breakdowns. Couples with poor communications, 3.5x more likely to divorce within 10 years. Number 3, finance. 6% of divorced couples cite financial stress as a major factor. Money problems are the second most common cause of several databases. So that should be number 2, but it's now ranked number 3. Hope you guys follow me. I have to read this because we don't just want to watch this and then think that what she's saying is factual or false. We got to look at the data. Number 4, infidelity. Affairs account by 20 to 25% of divorces, depending on the study. Infidelity is more likely to lead to divorce in the first 5 years of marriage. And that could be either or, because women now, for a lot of men don't know, these women are fucking more than you. Now, depending on what type of man you are, you might be able to grant access to a woman, but it's never easy for you to get women. We already know that rate from the amount of the babies that's being born, particularly for a certain race of men, especially black men. But generally, men are not really having sex like that. I'm sorry. And number 5, incredible difference or irreconcilable differences, often used as a legal category, but reflects deeper issues like incompatibility, values, conflict, etc. Yes, please. And they have some more statistics from World Metrics Org and stuff. All right, 1 second. Now we're gonna look at another source. Next source. What's the leading cause of divorce? Another one. One, it goes back again. Communication breakdown. That's number 1. Couples stop effectively talking, listening, and solve problems together. Number 2, now they say infidelity is number 2. Previous from the other one I read from Copilot, it said it's 3 or 4th on the list, but number 2 it says on here, which is another search engine. Infidelity, cheating is one of the most common report reasons marriage, etc. Number 3, financial problems, debt, disagreements about spending and money stress as major contributor. Number 4, loss of intimacy, connection, which also could possibly lead to infidelity, possibly. When you as a woman stop screwing your husband. Lack of better words. Emotional distance, lack of affection can push couples apart. Number 5, constant conflict, frequent fightings, criticism, resentment, error, marriage. And number 6, lack of commitment. One on both partners no longer feel invested in maintaining the relationship, which normally is really the woman that really invests in the relationship. If y'all guys notice that. And it says here, number one reason marriage fails in America, the truth about divorce nobody wants to admit, or why are so many marriage ending? All right. And one last tool, let's look at Grok. Let's see what Grok will tell us. From Grok's data, it says here, lack of commitment, 73 for 75%, is the number one reason for divorce. Number 2, infidelity, extramarital affairs, 50 to 6%, and that go for either side, so people don't know. Number 3, too much arguing, conflict, 56 to 58%. Number 4, married too young, which is a stupid one because you can never be too young or old to get married, let's be honest, 45%. And number 5, financial problems, 36 to 40%. So this is Grok. So we're gonna let this go on. But I just want to really clarify this because personally, she don't know what the hell she's talking about. Gentlemen, she really don't know what she's talking about. She said infidelity is the number one reason why most women file divorce. No, that's not the case. So she's actually wrong. Where she get her little source is debunked. Let's go.
It's up to what you randomly decide.
I think marriage should be governed by the church. And if it's governed by ecclesiastical authority,
this country runs,
it should, though, and it did. So I'm saying let's go back to that because that was better.
This country is not run by your personal Christian Orthodox
That's not what I
religion.
mean. Your church. So if you're Mormon, you get married in the Mormon church.
Fantastic.
And that ecclesiastical authority governs your marriage. And if there's a divorce, they help sort out who gets what and what happens. And they are responsible for supporting women and children in the case of the husband doing something that would necessitate a divorce. That's how it was through all of history.
All right, non-religious couples or some non-denominational Christian couple gets married, somebody cheats, or do you believe that they are allowed to legally to get divorced, or they should be allowed to?
I don't recognize secular marriage. It's the same thing to me as gay marriage. All you're doing,
but it exists.
It exists.
Even if you don't recognize
what it is,
the reality.
Right. But what it is not marriage. What you have as a secular person going through the state, which is why Brian's against it, and a lot of men are opting out. It's a gay roommate agreement. It's a very homosexual thing in nature, if you ask me. You are like, let's make a boyfriend-girlfriend living arrangement, like Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory, how he would make the roommate agreement. It's a glorified roommate agreement that's enforced by the state. There's no religious duty. There's no moral duty. It's not a lifelong commitment. You have an easier time getting out of your cell phone contract or out of a divorce in a secular situation than you do breaking your cell phone contract. You have better luck. You got a divorce that you just signed the paper and now you're divorced.
Yes,
you have a harder time with Verizon. It's harder to break up with Verizon than
thankfully,
that.
the first time around, even though, we were young and picked people that we grew apart from, at least I picked a decent person.
Yeah.
And so it was, we're still amicable with each other and would be there for each other in any kind of situation. But
that's good.
But
I'm just saying, all
again,
it is now is it's just a basic roommate agreement, and then you go, I don't like this anymore, so it's done.
It's a really entangled legal situation, especially when shared assets exist, and especially if kids exist.
Yeah.
You try
agree.
to get into a divorce proceeding when kids are involved, and
I went through that.
It takes years to resolve.
In my case, it only took maybe less than 6 months, but yeah,
Okay.
it's just,
A
it's
lot of people,
horrible.
it takes
But
a
it
long-
should
so
only,
it's a
my view
reality.
is that it should only be for serious situations. You're in danger.
But you
There's
don't
something
determine
drastically
that.
wrong. I don't. But we're talking about who should, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it should be the church, because marriage is a lifelong religious sacrament. If all you want is a roommate agreement, I don't
make-
care what you do.
I don't make policy recommendations based on religious arguments.
Well, that's a
even
problem.
Even if I hold the same values as you do. That's
So
not how
you're
I
doing the thing that
prescribe
you're doing
things.
the thing that so many people like not so erudite tries to do this. I have a set of morals
I don't
for
even know,
myself
like,
and what
what
I
she
think
does
is
or
right or
what she-
wrong. I have a set of morals, but I'm not going to force it on anyone. I think we should just default to secularism, and that's another big reason why we're
Not-
in this mess.
So we do have separation of church and state for a reason. I
Is
do think-
morality objective or not?
I think that morality is dependent on, what our beliefs come from God, right? Like, basically whatever, I think there's objective right and wrong regardless of what you believe according to your religion.
Okay. If
So-
that's the case,
yeah.
if we know objectively what's right and wrong,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we organize society along that and not just what this person might think is wrong on that day and then Bob thinks
Some
it's
of those
wrong
things.
next Tuesday?
Let me name some of those things.
Sure.
It is objectively wrong to kill a person unless
Why?
it is in self-defense.
Why?
Right? Because people have inherent human value. So that is, I don't care what your religion is.
And you
if
think that's based on God?
I think that's an objective, moral, basically decision.
But what if
and
someone
argument.
doesn't believe that? What if somebody says,
Then
I
I
don't think that people have inherent
Correct.
human value?
I'm giving you an example of
Okay.
things that I believe are across the board that I don't think matter or change depending on a person's religion, like the right of a person to live, unless, of course, they've threatened somebody else and whatnot. So I think that's an example of that, and you
Okay.
asked to name one.
Sure.
So yes, objective morality does exist. There's, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't, because that, again, is taking away from somebody else's property, which is wrong, and you don't need a religion to basically support that. And
That's-
if there is a religion
But
that
see, that's where
supports
you're
that-
wrong. That's where
if
you're
there is
wrong,
a religion
though.
that supports
there are
that,
people who are secularists who don't believe stealing is wrong. They
And
think
they'd be wrong.
stealing through taxation is correct. Black Lives Matter think that we're living on stolen land and you got to give it back and all these kinds of things. There's a lot of people who you're taking the Christian moral paradigm for granted and saying it's objective when
Not Christian.
if we separate church and state, yeah.
Oh, I gotta acknowledge people in the chat room. Welcome everybody in the chat room. How you doing? As you know, make sure to not use all caps when you interact in the chat room. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it out now. I'll read your question. Super chat we prefer, depending on the content, but overall, if you have any questions, please lay it out in the chat room. I start from the bottom. Karen on the left, Karen on the right. Yes, indeed. You put a condition on it, then it's subjective. Make sure that passes. All right, all right. So I'm reading your comment. If you put conditions on it, then it's subjective. Of course, correct. Or subjective. And guys say, oh, great woman talking. And how you doing, Mr. IC5MC? All right, let's continue.
Yeah, that's Christian.
That-
Those are Christian
that people
values.
have a right to live unless they are, unless they're basically
Yeah.
threatened.
Yeah.
You think that's Christian?
Do you think there's any other religion that holds that?
You think that wasn't the case before Christianity?
No,
existed?
it absolutely wasn't.
Yes,
In
that
the ancient pagan world, there was no right to life. There was no human dignity. That did not exist.
Okay.
They did human
completely disagree.
sacrifice.
Yes, some, absolutely. Some religions and different sects did those things.
Okay,
Yes,
go to an
but-
Islamic country
but
and
it
ask them if they think
absolutely-
everyone has a right to live.
But it absolutely did exist.
No,
in
it
the
didn't.
past, especially in
Who?
Nordic, especially in, Nordic.
Nope, they did human
Viking.
sacrifice too, and they conquered and killed people, Driena. No, they
Which
didn't
is-
believe that it was wrong to kill people and take their stuff. You just said
Or no.
Vikings, and you're
Yeah.
trying to tell me Vikings thought it was wrong to take over people's land and kill
No,
them? Isn't
I'm
that like legitimately what they did?
In your own society. I'm not talking about conquering.
Well, that's subjective.
Tell me.
They did not
what
have
are
a
some-
concept of objective human rights and objective morality. They'd
Do
say
they exist, though,
Christianity
is what I'm saying.
Christianity is the only religion that has universal morals. Every other religion and system
Mm-hmm.
says there's what's right for us, and then there's what we do to other people. Are you not aware of that?
I'm not aware of I don't know how many religions that exist.
Well, now
and
you
what-
know.
And what each of them, it doesn't mean that you're right.
I'm correct.
I don't
Name
know
one.
what Buddhism.
Name any other religion.
Buddhism, what it prescribes. I don't believe Buddhism prescribes that, one set of rules for us, another set of rules for them.
Buddhism does not have an objective universal moral framework. Only Christianity does.
Okay, so again, I set one example, which is you said, all of the other religions prescribe one thing for their people and another thing for other people. And I just told you like that one doesn't. And I'm not even an expert.
And I'm telling you that Buddhism does not believe in objective morality that applies to everyone. It's very like you find your Zen by just, what's right for people and you let them find their way. It's not, here's what's right, here's what's wrong, and it's the same regardless of the people or the place or the situation.
By your definitions. And since, Rachel, there's so many different religions, again, this is why we don't prescribe policy based on religion.
That's a problem.
Driena,
Okay.
scoot your mic a little bit.
If you don't, then by that very definition, you are making subjective prescriptions.
What if people that have a completely different worldview and a different religion than you came to power and then tried to impose their religious beliefs on you? Would that be okay?
They have and they do, and that's just an is statement.
So isn't the problem?
That's why Christians need to have power of the government, because if we don't, someone else will.
Or the solution is to take away the power of the government to make those kinds of selective
Do you want to get into that?
decisions.
Do you want to get into that argument? Because I
Yeah.
don't think you do. So you
Actually-
think that if we have a secular government where the church is separated from the state, we're going to
So-
end up with fairness and human rights? Is that what you think?
No, what I'm saying is it sets a dangerous precedent to set laws based on our particular religions, because then
Then
that
what do we base them on?
Then we base them on objective morality, right?
There is no such thing as
Which
objective
we
morality
base it
according
on-
to
we
you.
base it-
This man, Miss Sexton is stupid as hell. That's some bullshit. I'm not sure, some feminist nonsense she picked up. Morality is for the weak, ladies. Listen well and understand me well. Morality is for the weak. They only oppose morality to men and women that don't think that they should do nothing but sit back on their ass and fold their hand while they get slapped in the face. Real talk. And here's a funny thing about it. She didn't want the church in your business because church has bring more morals and structure. And we all know most women, well, actually majority of women, don't want structure or order. They want chaos and disorder. I'm telling you what it is. You know what's going on, gentlemen. Anytime you try to put your foot down in front of a woman resents you, hates you, because they want to live in a world where they control things and conduct in the forms and the highest form of chaos imaginable. Keep that in mind. Let's continue.
We base it on protecting the right of the individual. That I think is the ultimate.
Then you would have to.
ultimate goal.
Then you would have to have legal abortion, you'd have to have legal pornography, you'd have to
How
have
does
legal
that,
drug,
how does
because if you,
protecting the right of an individual
because
create
this is the
abortion?
libertarian argument, which is why earlier when you said, I think people should be able to do what they want as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else.
Yes.
That is the same argument libertarians and classical liberals have used since the Enlightenment to say, you can't tell me I can't smoke this weed. I'm not hurting anybody, bro. You can't tell me I can't
Abortion.
abort this baby. It's my body.
No.
That thing is not a
that
person.
argument-
It's just
that
a clump of
argument falls
cells.
apart very easily because of
Well-
using biology as an argument, not using a religious argument. You use biology as an argument because, again, the embryo is an individual by all senses of like the definition. It's just part of the human
Okay, but how
developmental
has
stage.
it worked out for us around the world when we let secularists make the laws? They always make abortion legal, and they make abortion legal based on bodily autonomy and libertarian principles of I should be able to do what I want. It's my body, my choice.
And they're making, just because they get what they want, it doesn't mean that their argument was valid, right? Because they're just
but without
choosing,
without an objective
choosing to
religious
ignore
moral framework, you
biology.
just this is going to be like way over her head. So we'll just go back to like no fault divorce or something.
Also, we do have some chats
And-
that came through. So while we do a few chats, I think we've got about 5 or 6. We have Chaw XD. So our choice is to marry femcon women who we're equals with and will allow for the proliferation of love and tell us it's all our fault, or go to Iran. Iran ain't looking too bad suddenly. Would you like to respond to that?
I'm
Thank you,
sure
Sean.
you could. I'm sure you could find the kind of submissive women that don't want to vote and don't want to have financial freedom in Iran. So you know what? I recommend it. You know, one-way ticket over there. Absolutely. And again, this falls.
This
more
was
than
an easy
anything-
debate.
this-
She just
this
came right out
falls-
and said the quiet
this
part out
falls,
loud.
again, under hypocrisy, you know, because the basic argument Rachel's trying to make with her book is that women shouldn't vote, but she does vote herself, and she just said in this
Well, the
podcast
minute
that she'll
the
continue
minute that
to do
all the
so.
women can't vote, I won't vote either.
Sure, and that's not going to happen. So you're basing your
Oh, I wouldn't be
prescription-
so sure about that. They said Roe versus Wade couldn't be
Your-
overturned, and we got that one. And I think a lot of
You
people
think-
are waking
Do you
up.
actually think it's possible that
Yes,
the 19th Amendment
not
would
only
be-
do I think it's possible,
be
it is
overturned?
inevitable. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, you can laugh, but I'll tell you why.
Tell me
all
why.
the men watching
me
this
why.
and
Okay. Mm-hmm.
all the men out there have started to figure out that this feminism BS
Mm-hmm.
is only there because they facilitate and allow it. And if at any moment men go, yeah, this was a shitty experiment that didn't work, it needs to go to the dustbin of history, no more of this shit, then tomorrow it stops.
You think that would actually
And
happen?
we figured out that universal democracy, one person, one vote, basically provides this huge front for a shadow oligarchy. It does not provide.
All right, I'm going to read some chats in the chat room, and let me check if it went through. Because, matter of fact, I'm going to keep playing, and I'm going to read y'all chats. All right, let's go.
Provide you with
when
more
would this
freedom.
happen? What would be the time frame? Do you think in your lifetime?
Oh,
that'll
I don't
happen?
know. It could be 20 years, it could be 1,000 years. But with the birth rates dropping like they are, this situation that you think is so great is literally
What situa-
unsustainable.
Wait, what situation that I think is so great?
Just the whole like women should be financially independent, everyone
Yes,
should
they
have their
should.
own money, and we should.
Okay, so I'm going to read your chat room right now. And like I said, there will be a time frame where the chat room will be only if you subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you cannot participate anymore in the chat room. Just letting people know right now. So I give people a period of maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe give or take. See how we look at the views and the likes, maybe. But the guy writes, John 762 writes, separation of church and state means keeping the government from interfering with the church, denying religious expression and free exercise of religious, which violates the establishment of the cause. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. Remember, guys, 15 more minutes to chat in the chat room freely. After that, you guys subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
Should all just be rugged individualists, and every person gets a vote.
No, I
and
think that when we each
it
have
will-
individual rights and liberties, we can come together in a community a lot better because
You know
we're
what
coming,
happened,
we're coming
though?
out of
We've
from a
had
point
that.
of consent,
But we've had
not
that.
out of force.
We've had
right?
that for over 100 years. And what
No,
has
we haven't.
Yes, we have
1974 is when women finally were able to be financially equivalent to men.
women were always
Do you deny that
allowed.
fact?
Yes, we need to talk about this because
let's go there.
you're going to say that because some or most women
Mm-hmm.
weren't approved for loans or credit cards,
Yes.
that they weren't allowed, and that's not the case. So this is what feminism relies on. Again, get the new feminism debate course because I break this down like no other.
1974
The
is when
let me
women
talk.
finally could
okay.
have credit and were finally able to get loans without a male signature. This is 52 years ago.
You're just wrong. You're
so
just wrong.
What do you mean? Is that?
I'm
is that
gonna
a fact?
explain it if you
Brian,
wanna
you want
hear.
to pull that up if that's a
But
fact or
the
not?
framing of how you're saying it is totally
I'm telling
wrong.
you, a law passed. Right? What framing is there? It's a fact.
Well, to
1974.
people who aren't very smart, I'm sure the framing doesn't matter. As soon as you're done yapping, I'll just
What
blow you
happened
out.
in
The
1974?
Equal
I'll just
Credit
blow you out.
Opportunity Act passed. You can pull this up. Equal Credit Opportunity Act
I'm not
in
denying that.
1974.
I know that happened.
That allowed
but what you're
women
saying
to
about
finally
history
get
is wrong.
credit, and that finally allowed women to get loans without a male signature.
Well, was
that
there-
happened 52 years ago. Women weren't financially
If she stops
independent
talking,
52
I'll
years ago.
explain
But-
how
How is
she's
it?
wrong.
Well, I guess question for you, one point of clarification. Were women legally barred prior to
Yes.
it?
No, they
Legally
were
barred?
not.
Or were
No.
some
Oh,
banks?
it didn't. Yes, correct. There were basically there wasn't protection that required that all women
Brian, I can
be treated
totally,
equally.
yeah, I can totally
Yes.
break this down. So now it's my turn. What she's doing is a classic. She doesn't realize this is what it is, but it's classic feminist framing to
my
make
God.
it sound a certain way when it wasn't.
It's facts.
So before the equal,
Facts aren't feminist, and they don't care
It's
about
not-
your feelings either.
God, are you done?
Here, let Rachel.
Yeah, let me explain what actually happened. So she's conflating and saying women were not allowed. That's not the case. Banks, for the most part, did not often grant loans or credit cards or accounts to women who did not have employment, the same way they wouldn't now. So if you went to a bank now as a man and you're 25 years old, you don't have a job, you live at home with your mom, you don't have any established credit, and you don't have any way to pay a loan back, are they going to grant you a loan? No. Okay? There was no law saying women cannot have these things. It simply was the case most of the time. Now, there were plenty of women, and I have
It just allowed discrimination.
multiple examples in the feminist debate course where I show you all the women who did have bank loans, credit cards, bank accounts. Going back to the 1700s, women had these things. It just wasn't most women. You often needed your dad or your husband to sign for something because you didn't have a job, because you were where you belonged in your home, raising the next generation, which is the most important thing a woman can do with her life. So
no
yes,
options.
so what she just
Gotcha.
did was present disingenuous framing that makes it sound like women weren't allowed these things. They were denied it. And what this Equality Act she's talking about, this equal financial opportunity law, what
Yes.
that did was bullshit. That was,
That's a great.
it was
Great
bullshit,
comment.
because what it did was
Uh-huh.
force. It's the same thing we do with everything else, all this DEI stuff, all
Forced
of this.
to not discriminate
just
based
shut up.
on gender.
Just shut up for a minute,
That's
and you
it.
can learn. You can
That's it.
learn. Yes, we force institutions to grant loans. We say you have to give them this. You have to give them
No.
that. You have to prove.
That's-
you have to
that's
prove
wrong.
that you're not
That
discriminating
is
based on
false.
sex by offering women these things.
That's-
Even if you know it's a financial risk, even if the bank wouldn't normally make that decision.
No, that
For
law-
business reasons,
This is false.
okay?
Objectively
so this
false.
law, what this law did was force the hand of the government to step in and try to force equality, and you say you're against that. You say you're against the government coming in and forcing equality, but you back all this
You're-
DEI nonsense.
You just said
back
a lie.
affirmative action.
You just said a lie, which is that this law forced banks to give women loans, and it didn't. All it did is guarantee that they didn't discriminate on the giving of loans or credit based on gender.
Don't you think that
Not
banks?
forcing
Don't you think that businesses should
that
be
is-
able to deny service to anyone they want for any reason?
by
or no?
gender? Because of gender? No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, that's a progressive position.
No,
Do you think
no.
that bakeries
Let me
should a
finish.
Christian bakery have to bake a gay wedding cake
Let
too?
me finish. I'm talking about financial rights, right? No, I don't believe a bank should deny any kind of services to people
This is the book they're talking about. I hope you guys can see it. This is her book. Get the book. This is Rachel Wilson's book. She talked about a lot of things. And definitely she break down what this stupid chick's talking about. Those that don't know. All right. So get the book.
Gender, because then they could also deny services or loans or credit based on race. It should be Rachel, let me finish. It should be based on the person's credit history, ability to pay back, all of that stuff. The things that normally banks take into consideration.
But that's not what that did. That's not what that did.
Yes, it is.
Because it was telling banks,
it did not force banks to give credit.
It created a situation where the government is now watching the bank, and if they don't have a certain percentage, it's the same thing they did with DEI hiring and with affirmative action in college, letting women and minorities into college.
Hold on, let her finish.
I didn't.
Let her finish.
So what this did was a bank might look at a woman and say, okay, she just got divorced. She's only had a job for a month. The odds of her being able to pay back a loan or a credit card are like not good. Normally, as a business decision, we would say no to this person regardless, but because she's a woman and we have to show a certain amount of women on our payroll, on our bankrolls that have accounts,
that doesn't
so
happen.
that we don't get investigated and accused of denying women's rights.
That doesn't happen, Rachel.
Now we're going to do that. Yes.
That doesn't happen because the bank can then prove, no, the reason we denied this woman.
I think we should have left it up to banks to decide.
The reason why we denied this woman, credit is because she just, got divorced and she just,
They should be able to deny you credit based on anything they want.
If somebody inquires about
I thought
why
you're a libertarian. Why do you want the government coming in and telling the bank who they have to loan money to?
If somebody inquires about, if the government decides to investigate a bank and says, oh, you're giving 80% of your credit and loans to men and 20% to women, but the bank can prove, here's why we denied most of women's applications, they wouldn't get into any problems with the law. And this,
if you're a major bank, are you going to take that chance? No,
and this opportunity and this act made that the case. It didn't force banks to give out credit or give out loans to people that didn't deserve them. That's actually something that.
But women were allowed. But the whole point is, prior to that, women were allowed to own property, have jobs, have their own money. Were they not?
That's something that the Clinton administration did, and that's
she would love the Clinton administration.
A big reason why we had the whole 2008 housing.
Yes, exactly. Crash. So are you saying that it was illegal for women to have their own money or property prior to 1975?
So there's something called coverture laws, right?
Yes.
So if you were a married woman and you have joint property with a man, and that man was away for business or war, whatever, you still had no legal identity. It means that you could not sell the property or do business without their consent or anything like that. So no, you didn't have any kind of legal business standing. So again, they did not have rights outside of the presence of a man.
Okay, that's
in a legal marriage, but where they both owned property supposedly.
But here's the problem with that. If you go back to, again, the anti-suffragists arguments to the suffragists in the late 1800s, the middle 1800s even, the state of New York, this varied a lot by state. So this was not federal, most of it, for most of history. In the state of New York in 1870, if you were a wealthy woman and you went into a marriage with an inheritance or an expected inheritance, and maybe you already owned property, maybe you had a wealthy dad and you owned a piece of land, in the state of New York, your husband was not allowed to get that in the divorce. He was not allowed to sell it or do anything with the land or the property or the money unless you said in front of a judge that you were giving him permission, and the judge had to be reasonably assured that you were not being coerced or forced or in any way pushed into doing that. Okay. And the women who were against suffrage cited these laws. They were breadwinner laws and there was other types of laws. They cited this as look, we've got a really good deal, and if you make us politically equal with men, all this equality, feminism stuff, we're going to lose privileges and protections that we now enjoy under the law that we want to keep.
And that we,
So
can,
there were
that we
a
still
lot
have today.
No,
And-
there were a lot of protections in place for women that we don't have anymore. So if I had been divorced in 1870 and not 2006, I would have not been in the situation where here I am, a single mom with kids, and because my husband got into all kinds of trouble and I had to divorce him, now I've got to try to figure out how to support them. I've got to get a job. I've got to get on welfare. I've got to put them on Medicaid because I can't afford.
You think laws are more fair back in the day than they were now when it
Laws
comes to
back then
divorce?
protected vulnerable women better than they do now, yes. And I have data that can
I
prove
disagree
it.
with that position.
No,
completely.
okay, so when the church would step in and.
Forget about
and-
the church, the law. Like, we're talking about legal marriages.
Why do you want the government to do all this if you're
I'm talking about
if
reality
no,
right now.
you said you want individual rights, but then you'll say, but I want the government to step in and protect women. Which is it? You have to pick one.
I'm saying what we have in place right now, the protections in marriage and in divorce laws, you think that that was better back then than that it is right now, that
Yes.
it protects. I completely disagree with
Overall,
that.
as a broad picture,
For many
yes.
reasons, I disagree with that because nowadays,
Yeah, because you want the right to.
courts take into consideration contributions beyond financial when it comes to marriages. So that's why.
I do have to let some more chats come in here.
Go.
We have Redacted 92, totalization of reproductive control in females with secularization and feminism yields this pathology. The beast of vanity consumes females from within, ironically fulfilling their fear of obsolescence.
Deep stuff.
That
but
was some
true.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Shakespeare right there from Redacted 92. Thank you very much for your message, guys. We have 6 messages we need to get through. Guys, if you want to get a message in right now, our read threshold is $99 and up. We have a $10 display. Also, like the video if you're enjoying the stream. We have Based Justin coming in here with... Oh, I triggered it twice. You're back to summarize feminist is as feminist does. Proof is in the pudding. You practice an emphasis on marriage and kids with only a latest boyfriend at 32-ish with no kids. When family TikTok. Would you like to respond to that?
I'm glad that you're following my dating life so closely and are donating $100 or $200 every time I'm on the show to get a message out to me, but that is going fantastic. And like I said, the person that you have children with is the single most important decision you can make. I don't want to be in a situation where, I'm divorced and then my kids have to be raised by somebody else. So I'm going to take my very sweet time to make sure that I set up my family for success and I'm not a part of that divorce rate after kids. I think that's one of the worst things anybody has to endure.
Do you want kids?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm going to have kids, and so, thanks, guys.
Well, thank you for that, Base Justin. We have Cha here. Thank you, man. How are you invoking objective morality absent an epistemic foundation? That doesn't make any sense. Like you actually have no idea what you're talking about. Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think there's things that, again, objective morality, just as, shouldn't murder people for any reason. I think that goes beyond religion, and we don't need
Do you know what he
religion.
means by epistemic foundation?
I'm not an expert of
Okay.
absolutely every
Right.
topic,
And that's
but-
understandable and that's fair. All that means is you have to have so epistemology is just basically like how you know what you know or how you know what's true. So you can't just say, well, I just think murder is wrong. It's like, okay, but do you have a justified reason for saying murder is wrong? Because clearly there's some people in this world who don't think murder is wrong. So like what makes you right? He's just saying you need some kind of epistemology to stand on to make those kinds of assertions, and you're not. You're just saying, I just think it's the case.
I think that even people that subscribe to religions that try to justify murder, right, in cases that aren't justifiable in common civilization. I think they know it's wrong. I think we all inherently know. I think
Again,
we all
that's
have,
nice to say, but
I think we all
it
have
doesn't.
a conscience.
That's not how a debate
And,
works.
for
You're just
example,
saying words.
If there's people that, believe it's okay to kill
words.
others of a different religion, I think that they know at their core that that is wrong, and they just choose to.
Well, I think you
choose
know
to
at your
follow
core that women are not equal with men, and that anytime men decide to rescind women's rights, there's not a damn thing they can do about it. But you're not going to admit to that either.
It's not going to happen. You won't admit to that.
Why do you think it's not going to happen?
Because it's just not.
Because you take it for granted that simps are going to always come to the rescue, don't you? Have you heard of a little place called Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Do you know that they used to have? Okay, what about Iran? What about a little place called Iran?
Yeah.
Okay, what about Russia? Russia's not even Muslim. How about Russia?
I'm talking about the United States.
Okay, but what I'm telling you is historically, there's multiple places around the world where, regardless of religion or other factors, women had rights, and then the men said, not so much anymore. Why do you think that won't and couldn't happen here? Other than the fact that you've lived a privileged female life that leads you to believe that, like, this could never happen to me.
I don't think it's a privilege to demand equal voting rights.
You can demand it all day, sweetie, but if the patriarchy doesn't grant it, you're out of luck.
Rights as well. And I don't think rights are determined based on force.
That's all super cute. So what happens
no,
when...
it's not super cute. Do you believe rights, inherent human rights, are derived on whether somebody else can take them from you or
yes.
not? I don't agree with that.
Now, be careful, because I know you don't know philosophy. That's an is.
Okay, sure.
That's an is statement. It's not an ought claim. I'm not saying rights ought to be taken. I'm saying if tomorrow men don't want to enforce women's rights, you and I can't do anything about it.
I don't know. I can't say right now that I know for sure that that would be the case, just because, we have guns, the great equalizer.
I see.
So physical force isn't as much of a determining factor between the sexes. And I think, at least in Florida, where I'm from, an equal or close to equal amount of women own guns as men, and it doesn't matter whether you're, 7 feet or 5 feet as a man. All you need is a small little handgun to be at equal.
Yeah,
I'm actually equal levels.
I'm actually a firearms instructor myself, and I teach women.
So you understand that guns are the great equalizer.
Sorry about that, guys. I think I might have muted myself a long time. I do apologize. As you know, I did show the book, Rachel's book. She talks about a lot of things. If you never got the book, get the book. It'll go back to replay this. I showed the image of the book. Now, moving forward, you got to subscribe to the channel. Oh, and one thing, I will say this. If you're using the foul language with the F word, it will not be permitted move forward on any content, either my channel or any other content. I do not want to see no F word in my chat room. I'm surprised Google allowed that. But nonetheless, for people that want to participate in the chat room move forward, you got to subscribe to the channel. One thing I noticed from Ms. Sexton, she really is a woman that is very much a woman that wants control. But there's certain things in life you can't control. And she's shown right there, even in regards to how she dictates her life, about one day she got kids. You about to be 34 years old, baby. You're pushing at geriatric risk. I'm not sure if you're married to this man. I don't know if you're actually married. But if this man is doing well and all that stuff, I know for a fact that he's fucking on the side. Because I don't see a man really entertain you for a long-term mate or even go as far as a wife. The way how you sound and move, personally. And most men, if he's on his grind, on his purpose, don't really entertain feminist women like you. Unless you're good for a nice little swing. But I digress. Let's keep going. Fair use, and please like the stream.
What I understand is that,
I don't think
but
that
as a whole, so like on an individual level, if there's an attacker coming at you, your best shot is a gun for sure.
Yes.
A pew pew. I don't know if you can say that on YouTube.
Yeah, and if men wanted to take over and stop letting women vote, women, you don't think women with guns in this country would do something about it?
Describe to me how you think that would look.
It'd be terrible. It'd be bloody.
You think that the girls
ridiculous.
are going to, so we just took away abortion rights.
What And
What did the
Why are you
women
conflating?
do? What did the women do about it? They went into the street and screamed. Everybody saw the videos of the liberal women screaming at the sky, promising they're never going to have sex again, which is like, oh, now you're starting to figure out, like, you don't have to have an abortion if you just don't do the sex. We saw them vowing, all kinds of things. We're gonna do something, and they didn't do anything.
What were you expecting them to do?
Well, you said they would get guns and take their rights back. I'm wondering why they didn't do that.
Well, it was never a right, and it was never a constitutional right. Where's abortion written in the U.S. Constitution?
So you think if it was in the Constitution, then they would have revolted with guns?
Then they would have had probably a more objective, valuable reason to do that, but it's not, right?
But would they, though? Do you really think women are going to collectivize? So
No, I don't think most women want to kill their kids.
Why in all of human history have women never overthrown men as a group?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a good
Usually
question.
men have been the ones to fight the wars, to go to war, to choose.
But why did women wait until 1920 when the law changed? Why didn't they just rise up as a group and take their rights before that?
We've never had a civil war that I know of between men and women in any kind of civilization in the past before. Because usually communities operate as one. It hasn't been, men versus women. You could technically say in places like Iran, you have women's rights movements that do.
I gotta pause again. I'm going to repeat this once and only once. This country gives you a delusion, not the illusion, delusion that there is such thing as called free speech. If this was so true, then really truly, you should be able to say any word on any platform, social media, or even out in the world in front of people, your boss or whatever, and use the F word perpetually and don't receive any form of consequence if there is a such thing as free speech. Hell, you could talk and say derogatory things to people that are homosexual in nature without a consequence. Hell, you could talk that with people that are tiny hats and call them what they are without a consequence. So to answer Ms. JSDK for DC, no, that is delusional. There is no such thing as free speech in America. They tell that to people to fill your heads up. But in practice, in practicality, that is not really factual. So yes, you can use the F word freely. But last time I checked I'm looking at Google, and Google did not accept that F word. So obviously, you do not have no free speech. So cut it out. Cut it out. Let's go.
Advocate for their rights as
they always have to beg and ask.
But
who do they have to ask their rights to be granted by?
Okay, I grant you that position. What I'm saying is that rights, moralistically, do not come from force, right?
That's just an assertion. What are you basing that on?
From the fact that people have inherent human rights.
According to who?
Do you believe in natural rights?
It's not about what I believe. According to who?
Natural rights.
Whether I believe it or not has nothing to do with anything.
Same.
If men with guns don't grant the rights, how do you have the right?
It doesn't mean that because men. Again, you're conflating two different things.
You're saying should.
Conflating two different things.
You're saying, I think we should have rights regardless. But I'm saying
rights don't come from physical differences and being more physically strong in any kind of way. Do you agree with that statement? That
it doesn't matter if I agree.
Okay, I'm asking you, do you agree that rights do not come from objective, like physical force?
Let me just grant that I do believe that. Can you prove that? How can you demonstrate that rights do come from, they just exist, right? They're just granted by what? By what?
I think they're natural rights.
They're natural,
yes.
Okay. And so what happens if tomorrow the men violate your right to vote and they stop letting you into the polling center and they say you can't vote anymore, Driena, you're a woman and we're not going to let you?
That'd be a bad thing. But
what would you do about it?
Personally, I mean, I don't know, go somewhere where women do have egalitarian rights. I don't know.
Okay.
First of all, that's not going to happen.
What I'm trying to say is it can't be natural.
But-
it can't be natural, and here's why.
Okay.
The natural state of the world is patriarchy. That's
Yeah.
the natural truth of
Absolutely.
how things exist. So
True.
any illusion you have that we have these inherent rights granted to us by God,
I think it's by God.
nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can think it's by God. I don't think that. The Bible doesn't say anything about that. The Bible doesn't say
I think-
equal rights for everyone, make sure the women have equality. In fact,
No.
the Bible says men are supposed to be subject to their husbands and to their priests, and they're supposed to be quiet in the church, and they're supposed to ask their husband if they have a theological question, and that they should submit to their husband. That's what God says.
That's in your personal
Okay, so
interpretation.
you believe in like
of the Bible.
astrological new age God, like the universe or something?
No, I
Okay.
think that there's biblical proof and evidence of God valuing man and woman.
Of course,
the
he
same.
values them the
Okay,
same.
so that's
but
what
that
I'm basing
doesn't.
it off
But
of,
no,
Rachel.
that God can value men and women the same, and still He created a system. You talked about
God
naturalism.
created legal systems.
God created the natural world that we live in, right?
Yes, not
and
legal
in
systems
that natural world,
or
there
anything
is
like that.
hierarchy, right? There's
Sure.
always people who are at the top and then people beneath them. In every structure, whether it's a business, a government, society,
Yeah.
all structures are hierarchical. There is no
For the
such
most part.
thing as equality. There's always people
Or-
with more power. There's people who are taller, prettier, smarter, more talented.
Okay, that's
There's
God's
people,
creation, yes.
Yes, so
They're all
that's hierarchy. That means we're not
different-
equal.
Different. Well, it doesn't even need to be hierarchical.
We can
It's
be
just
equal in value,
different.
like-
yes, that's
like
what I'm arguing. There
God
we go.
values women, but that doesn't mean He
we
didn't
go.
grant men authority over us. He granted men authority over us. That's why they're bigger. That's why they're stronger. I know you don't like that, but
I didn't wait.
The proof.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay. Well, you disagree with that clearly.
No, I do believe that men are bigger than us normally,
Okay,
and
but-
physically stronger.
You think that we're equal with them, though.
We have equal value, yes. Therefore, we have
Okay,
to
but
have
what if-
equal representation. We're
but
like
what
going
if-
around in a circle with this.
Equal representation. Okay.
Yes.
Which biblical kingdom granted women equal representation under the government?
I don't know nor care, but I do remember reading.
So you're not
but
Christian.
I do remember
What God
reading-
are you talking
but
about?
I
You could
do
be talking
remember-
about Satan for all I know. What
But
God?
I do remember
what
reading
God do you
in
believe
the.
in?
But I do remember reading in the Bible that Jesus wasn't particularly a fan of politicians. Period.
You
tax
would be wrong.
collectors
Yeah,
or
that's
anything
not what you
like
think
that.
it is.
So
you don't know anything about any of that. Don't bring up the Bible if you don't know, because I'll just
So-
waste you on it again.
Again, there's so many religions that come out of
okay,
the Bible.
what God do
and all
you
that.
believe in then?
I do believe in the God from the Bible. Yes.
So
but
do you
again,
believe in the Bible?
Yes, I believe in the Bible, but
Then
I've
show
read it
me where
myself.
in the Bible it says that women have equal political rights with men, or that women and husbands and wives have equal authority in the
It
home.
doesn't. It doesn't say that.
Okay.
Anywhere.
So then why do you believe in that?
Because I'm basing my argument on God assigning equal value to men and women.
Yeah, they can have equal value, but men can still have authority. Do you think?
Do you think where in the
men?
Bible
do you
does
think
it
women and men
prescribe-
should have equal authority in the home or in
Where
the government?
in the Bible does it say, or does Jesus particularly prescribe men vote and women don't?
There's no democracy in the Bible. That's another reason I don't believe in it.
Okay.
There is no such thing as it's monarchies. God granted us kings and gave us rulers.
Okay, so we should go back
So
to
you
monarchies.
don't believe in the
Rachel.
Bible?
We should
I
go
think
back
so,
to
yes, but
monarchies. Why,
I
why
do,
don't
but-
you practice? There's monarchies all over the world. Why don't
Where?
you practice what we preach?
Where?
Actually, was it Thailand or one of those
Christian
countries?
monarchies?
Not
If there's a
Christ-
Christian monarchy, that's where I'm headed.
Thailand, I believe, has some kind of sect or some kind of.
Isn't Thailand mostly Muslim now?
They do have a large
Yeah,
sect
so
of it
I'm
as
not
well.
gonna go there because-
But there are plenty of other places where
Where?
you can live
Show me
under.
the Christian monarchy
live
I can go
under
live
a
under.
closer version, or actually, I think it was the Philippines or Thailand, one of those.
Again, not
And they
Christian.
would, supposedly exterminate like drug users and whatever across the
Yeah,
country.
Singapore and the Philippines do that.
Exactly. So again, there's a lot more countries on the outside that have the system that you currently like.
Okay, but back
you
to
don't-
this, right in the Bible, and I think it's 1 Timothy 2:12 says that men are supposed to be in authority over women and that women must submit to their husband.
Again, I'm not going to
So
make
if you believe,
I'm
you
not
don't
gonna make
believe in the
this-
Christian God and you don't believe in the Bible, if you think that's
Can you do
incorrect.
that and also vote? Do you think those two are at odds with each other?
You could. Do I think you should? Those are different
So
claims.
that's your personal
How
opinion.
things are versus how things ought to be. I don't think you ought to be voting, no.
Okay.
As a woman.
And we're
Can
never-
you right now? Yes.
Okay. And we're never going to change each other's minds
No,
on that
but
subject.
what I'm asking you is how you can, you are a
Or
you are the worst,
or anybody
you're the
watching.
most contradictory woman I've ever debated. You'll talk about individual rights on one hand and then say, I want the government to come in and force equality for women. And you'll say, I believe in the Christian God in the Bible. And then you'll say, well, not that part. I don't like the 1 Timothy 2:12 part. Forget that. And I want democracy, not a monarchy. That seems icky. I think Jesus thought this, even though that's not what the
Ma'am,
Bible says. I'm
the
just going to
only-
make it up.
The only person living hypocritically or not practicing what they preach here is you. Because
How?
at the very least, I say, I believe women should vote. I vote myself. I think
What have I advocated here that I don't
and you
do?
quite literally, your whole shtick, your whole thing is women shouldn't vote, but you do so yourself.
Voting is
And you
one
say-
of the things I talk to.
That is
talk about. Yeah.
Voting is the most important thing that came out of the whole feminist movement.
I
which,
don't think so. You might say that, but I wouldn't say that at all.
and I disagree with pretty much everything else in the feminist movement.
Okay, tell me
but
what things I
voting-
advocate for that I'm not living.
But voting-
Specifically.
Voting absolutely is one of those, right?
I don't
And
think
having-
women
how about
should
this-
be
how about the,
in politics
okay, a second
and voting.
one, financial independence. You have your own.
I am not financially independent.
You have
Not even close.
You work, right? You have. You just said you were a gun instructor, so you've worked before.
Under my husband, for my husband's company.
Okay, but you do work.
For my husband.
Yes, but
The
you are
Proverbs-
financially independent.
No,
still
I'm
that
not.
way.
I don't have any bank accounts that are in my name only. Everything is joint. I don't have any assets that are in my name only. Everything is joint.
So if you wanted, if
Women
Andrew
work-
cheated
this is
on
where
you,
you
you
get-
wouldn't be able to get out of that
Sure I would.
relationship, or
Sure, I would.
how
I would be. If he decided to be a serial cheater, and we went to our priest.
How about just one time? Would you?
It would depend.
I don't.
That's not an
we have
instant.
different values on that. Then.
Maybe, but I'm not going to break up a family unless I can tell you there's
They
no
already-
hope.
they
There's
already
no
broke
hope.
up the family when
See,
they did
that's
that.
what a childless woman would say because I put what my children need above me and my hurt feelings, and it would depend. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's moral. But if it's, so let's take this really common scenario just as an example. A lot of women will get married, have 1 or 2 kids with a guy, and stop sleeping with him.
Okay.
And it'll have been, the poor guy's gone 5 years and he hasn't been touched. He's tried to talk to her about it. He's tried to reason with her about it. He's tried to go out of his way. He's tried to be romantic. He's tried to do everything he knows how to do to fix it. And she goes, look, I'm just not into it anymore. Ever since I had the baby, it's just not my thing. I just don't want it.
Okay.
If he cheats in that situation, do I think that she should automatically divorce the guy? No, I don't.
Okay.
That might seem
I
crazy to you, but you keep the
I still
family
think-
together.
I still think cheating is a choice.
Of course
and
it's
can
a
be-
choice, and
can
I'm
be
not saying it's all
avoided
right.
at
And
pretty much. for any
Usually it
reason.
can, but there's a lot of dead bedrooms out there.
Or you can,
And
as a man,
if that's the situation you're in, I think,
as a man, can't you just get a divorce yourself if your woman is not fulfilling
yes, but
her
this is what
wifely duties?
your whole view comes from, and I don't mean this as an insult. I'm saying you don't know what you don't know because you don't have children. And when you have children, they come first.
Yes.
Way before your feelings,
I agree.
your,
and I would want to give
no matter
them
how badly
a good
you're hurt.
example, especially if I have a daughter. I would want to not show her that somebody can disrespect me and can treat the family badly, and I still stay for the sake of not breaking up a marriage. I wouldn't want to set that example
It depends.
personally.
So if your daughter
for-
found out, found out you were terrible to your husband, you don't sleep with him, you belittle him in front of
Okay.
people, you're a jerk to him, and then he cheats,
Okay.
Because he doesn't want to remove the kid's mom from the home, but he doesn't know what else to do. It's not correct. It's not a moral choice that he made. But I think that's very different from you're being the best wife you can be, you're being a good, faithful woman, and the guy just wants to screw other people. Totally different situation. So that's why I say it depends.
Yeah, I personally do believe that, cheating is a one and done thing. And
Again, that's easy to say when you don't have kids.
I know, but I also know that I have consistent moral values. I also know in the Bible, Jesus particularly references as adultery for one of the reasons that breaking up a marriage would be okay. It's that big of an infraction.
It can be. It can be.
It's that big of an infraction.
I've granted that it can be. But I don't think that, marriage is a long time, especially if you get married young. Say you get married at 22, you live to be till you're 82, that's 60 years. A lot of shit's going to happen in 60 years. You're going to hurt each other. You're going to do wrong to each other. You're going to screw up.
And still keep it in your pants. Same for women, by the way.
I agree, but I'm just saying I don't think it's an always every time must get divorced just because somebody had some infidelity.
Yeah.
I think there are situations, and there's tons of couples out there watching this right now who will say, yup, we screwed up, he cheated, I cheated, we worked it out, we stayed together, we're better than ever, we're happy, and our family's still intact and our kids are happy. So there are situations where that is the more moral and less selfish decision.
Sure, and I'm all for choice.
We do have some chats that we have to get to. We have Base Justin here. You shared plenty last show, if I remember.
And it goes to show that women don't really understand male nature to the degree or really care or doesn't want to invest in what or how the man works or the male nature works, in short. Because if you know sex is an essential part or integral part of the relationship towards you and the man, that makes you more connected and he feels more loved and appreciated and connected with you, deny him for whatever reason is a death toll. And I'm gonna say this personally, gentlemen. When your woman stops screaming, like literally, for a reason, and it goes beyond, let's say, 30 days. And that's the max. I'm not gonna go by 6 or anything beyond that is ridiculous, but let's say 30 days. She's already confirmed to and communicate to you that she's no longer gonna have sex with you and wants you to go do something. Now, most men that I hear normally when they sit in a marriage, they should tell most men personally that it's about they sign papers and let her go with the kids. I'm the approach. And be honest with you, this is my thing why the marriage laws need to really change. Because there's too many factors why women are benefiting too much and the men don't really get enough in return. They said the men get enough, but when we look at the laws and books and look at and study it closely, you don't really benefit nothing. Now, if you don't make more than her, you might be able to survive, maybe. But overall, how it's structured is really to take more out of the man and give to not only you, but really give most to the state. So that's why I see a lot of men today. And I think, to be honest with you, most men that's not participating think it's a good, I don't think it's a good approach, not participating. I think men should not only participate, they go out to go in and really talk to and find ways to get into those seats of power and change these laws, because laws got to change in order for this to work. To sit there and say, I'm just going to fold my head and choose to go to the couch or just not marry none of these women, it's not really a proactive approach in the long run, in my opinion. Because I don't see no laws being changed personally enough where men feel comfortable to really give marriage a shot, personally. But you guys be a judge. Let's keep going. And remember, guys, if you want to participate, subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
Correctly, your boyfriend clears $1 million a year as CEO of a nonprofit, correct? How much more time are you going to take? Point is, difficult to recognize how a priority ...
Yeah, that's very, very vague because being the CEO of a nonprofit doesn't mean that he makes $1 million a year through the nonprofit. There's other business ventures included in that, which is like assets and property and whatnot. But, I do think that, again, it takes time in getting to know the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, right?
So if it takes time, how long you been with this guy? And don't tell me you've been beyond 24 months. Because that is not really defined number of time, in my opinion. That to me is not a good assessment of time. I said this, and you guys will go back to the videos I upload, talk about this. 2 years and no more. If it goes beyond 12 months, or actually, if it goes beyond 24 months, 9/10 of the time, that man's not married, ladies. It don't take 2 years for a man to make a decision to marry you. Hell, I don't even subscribe to the 6-month regimen, and then you put a ring on it. I would say it should be over a year at best, may push it close to the second year, but usually it should be more than a whole full cycle or a full year or more to make a decision if you're gonna make this woman wife or not. If not, keep pushing as a man, respectfully. But all right, you ladies, you should know that anything beyond 24 months and it goes beyond 20 months and you're still in it, he's not married. It's that simple, ladies. It's just that simple. Don't take a man that long to wait, make a decision from head to toe, right? You living together or not, or whatever. Then he's gonna make you a wife. That's bullshit. Let's go.
So again, for me, it's not about money. It's about making sure that what we like is similar. You want to ideally match up and marry somebody that you enjoy.
I apologize
those things.
I do have to move it on, but we have AEI. Thank you for the super chat. Rachel loves cooking so much. She cooked you, didn't she? Who brought the barbecue? It's pretty good. Thanks. Thank you for your super chat there. Appreciate it. A lot of barbecue references today. Mossing with you.
We love a good barbecue.
Here is $100 to mute Blonde Obama's mic and let Rachel read her favorite part from her book. Well, unfortunately, during the debates, we don't allow microphone mutes, but thank you very much for your super chat there. And if you do want to pick up Rachel's book, Occult Feminism, she brought do you want a signed copy of Rachel's book?
Oh,
She'll sign it
Something
for
tells me no.
no go.
her book called "Everybody I Don't Like Is a Feminist." No, thank you.
That's not
Maybe
what
that's gonna part
the book
two.
is. The book
I
is
was actually considering making like a fun little prop and putting that little cover on your book. It's like Rachel on top of a rainbow. Everybody I don't like is a feminist, which is basically your argument. You know, everybody
It's
that
really
disagrees with you, that believes
Let me
simple values,
get through
is
some
a
of the
feminist.
super chats
It's
here.
hilarious.
We have Red Fox. Thank you for your super chat, Red Fox. Brianna, I'm not sure who that is. If duties for women are to behave, if duties for women are to have babies, support the family, and make a home, are you failing your duty? Are you a good example for women?
Great question. Are women not having kids at the age of 50 or 60 or 70 failing as women? I think that everybody does that on their own timeline, whenever is best for them.
Wait, you mean like women who had kids earlier, but now they're 60 and they're not still having them?
Yeah, as in if the duty of a woman is to have children, at what point does it stop?
Well, what
Or
if you?
is that
What if you're like
something-
me and you
is
just
that
have
something
them
you're
until
supposed to have?
you just have them until like menopause, and then you just can't.
You know?
you did your duty.
Sure, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's
people
what the
take-
super chatter's saying.
People take their
the super chatter's just
their
saying
time.
He's not saying you got to always perpetually be having kids. He's just saying at some point in your fertile years you should be doing that, and that doesn't last
It's
forever.
so crazy with how people are so concerned with somebody else's,
Well, we're very
fertility
concerned
and
about the birth
whatnot,
rate,
but-
yeah, and the fact that women are
Yeah.
generally focused on career and not focused on family anymore. It's a serious problem.
Yes, that I am actually trying to address myself, and I'm not doing that by telling the women that, hey, you should not vote. That's not going to make them have more kids. Telling them that they can't vote and that they shouldn't be financially independent is not going to.
I think telling
it is
them-
not great foreplay
But you're
for
acting like
women
I come on
having
here and I go,
kids.
listen, ladies, you shouldn't be voting. And
That's
you
exactly
need
what
to
you've
depend
done.
on a man forever. No,
That's
like what I'm
exactly what
saying
you've
is,
done.
what my
Exactly what
message
you've
to
said.
women is, don't listen to her. Don't listen to Taylor Swift or Beyonce or Kamala Harris
Don't
or
lump
Hillary
me in.
Clinton
Don't limp me
or
in
any
with
of these women
all those people.
who put their career first, who think
What if they want
they
to?
have to be independent and prove they can do it on their own. There is no shame, and you are not a loser. If you marry a wonderful guy, you have kids with him, and yes, he's the one that
I agree.
makes all the money,
I
and
agree
you
with that.
stay home and you depend on him. That
What-
does not make you weak.
I agree
That does
with
not
that.
make you a loser, and you don't have to feel ashamed about that, and you shouldn't feel bad about it for 1 minute. It doesn't make you ignorant,
I
and
agree.
you're not going to get beaten and abused.
I agree,
okay?
but
Don't
why,
listen to these
Why?
women.
What do you have against women that do decide to put their career first and then have kids?
I don't have anything against them, but I asked them.
Are
this,
they losers?
I didn't say
Are
they're
they,
losers.
you
I
know,
think
everything that you said.
I
people
asked them this
call
question.
The women that have
and
kids
I'll ask
first.
you the question.
Sure.
What duty are you serving to anyone or anything outside yourself?
Be more specific with your question.
I can't be. Are you performing any duty to anyone or anything outside yourself, or is your life only about you and what you want and serving yourself?
What duty? I wanted to ask you, what duty do you feel I have to anybody outside of myself? But that would just let you talk even more. But I do think that nobody has a duty to anybody but themselves from a
Oh.
legal perspective or from anything.
I see. So
we do. Let me finish
Okay.
answering your
Sure,
question.
sure.
Yeah, I think we all have individual choices on the timeline that we pick out for our life, and that I think everybody lives their life as a rational individual that does what is most beneficial to them, or what they think is most beneficial to them at the moment. And we don't have a duty to basically make anybody happy outside of ourselves. So I'm sure a bunch of the people
I didn't
watching,
say make anyone happy.
people watching, would love to be like, oh, she should have kids like right now, and get off the mic, whatever, get to it. I don't care, and nobody should
I'm
care.
not saying you have to have kids tomorrow, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to go personal about you because it's not my business, and I don't care, and I don't think that it even is pertinent to what we're talking about. What we're talking about is what's best for society, right? And what I'm saying is men don't get to have this beautiful idea that I don't have a duty to anyone outside myself, because if men didn't do what men do, we all die. So let me give you a scenario. If tomorrow you woke up and it was some weird rapture and all of the men disappeared and it was only women left on the planet. Okay, that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is we wake up tomorrow and all of the women are gone and it's only men left on the planet. Who lives longer?
The women. And will you let me
Sure.
explain why?
Yeah.
So let's say that the women disappeared. Men, the species would die off because only women can have kids. So that's it. We are done.
So they live till they're like 70 and then it's over.
We are done as
So
a
the men make
species.
it how long? Like
their
their natural lifespan?
I'm not talking about that. Yeah, whatever.
So all
whoever's
the men live until they're like 80, 90, and then they die.
Yeah, whoever's correct.
'Kay.
However, and I'm not saying I'm supporting either scenario, obviously.
Right.
But if men did disappear tomorrow, just by statistically, there's a lot of women in the population that would still be pregnant. And then they would have kids and would repopulate the earth, and civilization would continue.
But
to
what
go
if
on.
all the male fetuses that the women were pregnant with disappeared also?
Okay, sure.
So only babies that can be born as girls.
Fetus is gone. And I love that you asked this, because I thought about this question before, because I know you guys have talked about the scenario. Women are fertile, right, for 5 days before ovulation. So let's say a woman had relations with men 5 days prior to their ovulation day and still have the swimmers in her body, not babies, not a fetus.
Okay.
She would become pregnant. And then, yes, she would have a child. And so, statistically speaking,
But all the boys
Statistically-
can't be born, though. There's a weird noxious gas in the air
Oh
that
my
only kills
God.
men.
The-
I'm just
oh,
saying.
now you have to be
women,
even more
Women
specific.
surviving without men is the hypothetical.
no, that's the hypothetical you gave me, the species would actually survive
Okay.
if men disappeared.
You're
a percentage
avoiding.
of the population.
You're doing
right
what I
now-
said you would do in
No,
my
no, no,
opening,
no,
and
no,
you're
no.
running
I'm giving,
from the
I'm
scenario.
giving you exactly why that would work, because right now, as we speak, a percentage of the population worldwide is pregnant right now. Some of them
Here, let me,
without.
wait, as the
some of
moderator,
them-
I'm
some
I
of
must
them-
jump in on
She's
this.
without knowing
avoiding.
that.
She's
Because this is
avoiding
gonna
the
waste a whole
hypothetical.
bunch-
Some of
Your
them
loophole
without
is going to
knowing that.
waste a bunch of time.
It's not a loophole, it's a
It is a
reality.
loophole because what Rachel is trying to get at here is not in the instance where there are women who, yes, there would be women who are actively pregnant. And so conceivably, if those women were able to make it to term and give birth to the child, then that child
species.
starts at 0. And then
The species would
they're
survive.
arguable, even if it was only female babies, arguably the lifespan of that child would extend beyond that. But perhaps, Rachel, what if you were to refine your question to, you know what, just either all the pregnancies end in that moment
Right.
too, or pregnant women also die, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's
only
just,
the female embryos
it's-
can survive and be born. It doesn't matter. A world of all women,
Versus
everybody
a world,
dies.
Versus a world of all men.
Yeah.
I think everybody dies. I think it just depends on how long it is before either one does.
This woman is very much delusional, man. I'm very shocked and disappointed. But this is expected from a known feminist. Their ideology is very flawed, very delusional, very skewed, very, I don't want to use the word narcissistic, but you get what I mean. Like, this is like this mother goddess complex bullshit. That if the men were gone tomorrow, right? The woman that still got the swimmers inside their fallopian tube or in their womb. And that tells you right there that why you go insane and crazy after having so many intercourse with so many men, because a man leaves something inside you. You just prove a shadow of doubt that you women hold and absorb everything. It does not go away. And she just does not see that. Interesting. You have swimmers inside your system because you've been doing too much, having intercourse with so many men, or a few men, or enough men. For you to think like that, it lets you know why your brain and how you move and think the way you do. I don't know what to say, guys. This is bad for me. I know. Let's keep going.
And both scenarios are terrible.
Women, let me help you and tell you what would really happen. The women would survive a very short period of time because they cannot run the critical infrastructure.
Are you like a psychic or something?
No, let me explain it. Water treatment plants run by men. Power plants run by men. The grid goes down. There's no hospitals. There's no more ways to manufacture antibiotics. There's no heart surgeons. Like, even the females who can do that stuff, who can do surgery, who can do first aid, they can't do any of that without this world. Honey, this is the reason why feminism didn't become a thing until the last 100 years, because technology made and maintained by men is the only thing that allows you to believe you don't need men. Do you get that?
Wait.
Do you get that?
You're trying to put words in my mouth. Who is saying that we don't need men? Have I ever said that?
You were just trying to evade the hypothetical and act like, well, everyone's just going to die. I don't know.
Yeah,
Who
everybody would
knows?
just die. Society would
But
die.
the men could survive way longer, obviously, than the
Okay.
women, because the women cannot.
Okay, what is your point to this
My point is
scenario, Rachel?
that your belief in women's rights, you have to ask the men to guarantee your rights. Any rights you have are granted, guaranteed, and enforced by men only.
Fantastic.
And the minute they don't want to do that anymore, you don't have them.
Okay.
So if you want to live
Does
in
it
reality,
make it right? Does it make it right? That is my argument.
that's an is statement. That's not an ought statement.
Just
Now,
answer the question. Does it make it right?
I don't agree to the same paradigm as you. I don't believe in rights, like human rights. Everybody has rights.
Right,
I
you're
have rights. You have
special,
rights.
and
I
you
believe in
believe-
duties. We have duties to each other. We have duties to society.
We have duties, but not
to
rights.
God. Correct.
We have duties, but not rights.
Correct.
As individuals. That's
yes.
what you believe.
Yes.
Okay, I disagree. I
But
believe
what
we have
you
rights.
believe in is fairy tale stuff.
No, it's
only
practical.
there, but it's only there granted to you by men. Do you understand that?
I understand that, Rachel. Do
So
you
then you'd better
understand-
be nice to
Do you
them. And you'd better
understand-
stop arguing that you don't need them and we should have our own money and you should have your own money and we're all going to just live as
you're trying to
individuals.
put words in my mouth.
This
I've never
rugged
once-
individuality that you believe in doesn't exist.
I've never once argued that we don't need men and that we shouldn't value men or anything like that, Rachel. Again, stop trying to put words in my mouth. You know exactly
Okay.
what you're doing. My only argument has been that regardless of whether it is because of, the generosity of men that we do have rights, it
Yep.
doesn't negate the fact that it's still basically what should be the case. That should be the
according to
baseline.
you. Because you prefer it.
That women and men have equal value under the law.
Why does that mean women need political power?
Because
Having equal value doesn't mean you should have power.
Because we all live under the system, right? We all have a voice on the system that we
She's
want to
doing
live
bird
under.
hands.
I'm Hispanic. I talk with my hands. Soy
Bird
cubana.
I have a collab coming out with Home Math really soon too, guys, by the way.
But again, our rights don't come from whether people or not can overpower us.
Yes, they do. They actually literally do.
Okay, Rachel, perfect example for you. See if you can understand it.
Okay. I'll try.
like-
I'll try my best.
Black people in this country are a minority, 13% of the population.
Yep.
Many years ago, it was an even smaller percentage of the population. White men basically granted Black people the right to vote, right? Because they are such a minority that they could decide that that's not the case. But do you believe that Black people inherently have a right to vote because of their worth as individuals? That's the argument I'm making, Rachel.
Wait a minute.
That's
who
basically
granted Black people rights?
White
White
men,
who?
men and women.
Men.
And women.
No, women didn't grant Black people
Whatever,
rights.
I'm saying the white population.
No, this is key.
Rachel,
this is the
white-
See right there, this is what Rachel dismantled and demolished Miss Driena Sixto. You just answer your own goddamn question. It's the men that get rights, not you women. White women didn't give no god rights to no Black people. I almost cussed, man. Oh my God, let me breathe. I'm trying to do less cussing as best possible, but I'm not doing a good job because I get frustrated when I hear this dumb shit. You just answer your own goddamn question. It was the men that get the rights, not you. Not you. Shit. Let's go, man.
The whole part you're missing. This is the part you
Rachel,
keep skipping.
the white
Who
population-
granted Black people rights?
Fantastic. I'm talking about
Who granted the Black people rights?
Rachel, the majority of
She's just going to
I do think it's
avoid.
fair.
She's just going to
Maybe at
avoid
least
it.
answer the question. Maybe at least answer the question.
The majority, basically a person's rights,
Mm-hmm.
inherent rights, are
Uh-huh.
not determined by whether or not a majority grants it to you.
I agree. It's not about majorities. That's not
Okay.
what it's about. So
Okay.
let's say there was the population shifted over time.
Mm-hmm.
It's now 60% women, 40% men.
Mm-hmm.
Men still grant the rights because they have a monopoly on force, even if there's 60% women.
Okay,
So who
does
granted
that
the Black
make it-
people? Who
does that-
granted Black people rights?
Does it make it morally okay is what I'm saying? Just because, okay, let me give you another example.
Okay, I can't wait.
Another example.
I'm just gonna still come right back to who granted them rights? Who?
It's not about who grants the right.
It's totally about who grants the right. That's all it's about, in
It's
fact.
about whether they should be, whether that is a right they inherently have or not, right? So, for example, in Iran, women don't have rights because the system that exists there doesn't give it to them. Are they equal in worth and value, and should they have equal voting rights as the men do in their country? Yes, that is my
According
argument.
to you, sure.
That is my
Yeah.
argument.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we're going
I
to just
don't-
keep going back and forth and
Yeah,
differing
so
on that. And I think
who-
it's just a matter of, again, hypocrisy. Do you
Who
practice
granted?
what you preach, Rachel?
Who granted the rights?
You still vote, and you
Who granted?
still plan
Yeah,
on voting.
because my husband tells me to vote, and I submit to my husband. So who granted
sure,
the
that's
rights?
a great excuse.
Who-
that is a fantastic
who-
excuse,
who-
Rachel.
Yes, you're right. Black people didn't have rights, and then who granted them rights?
White people, white population in this country
No,
did.
nope. What you got it right the first time. Men.
Fantastic, because
Men.
they were the larger population.
No, because they have the monopoly on force. It had nothing to do with
That
them
is
being.
exactly what I'm saying, Rachel. They had the monopoly on
But
force.
it's always men.
But
So
it
like,
doesn't mean-
could white women outnumbered black people, right? Back then. Prior to civil rights, there was more white women than there
Rachel,
were black,
do black people have a right to vote because the white man says so, or because they are equal as an individual?
Are you talking about should, or are you talking about do?
Should.
Because I
To
should be
clarify.
20 pounds lighter, but
To
I'm not. So
clarify. Should,
I
Rachel.
should be, but I'm not.
Yes, should.
Right? So,
actual.
okay.
Actually, that's the argument I'm
yes,
making,
so
Rachel.
if you want to talk about ought claims,
Yep.
then we have to get into epistemology, and you're not going to do any better with that.
Sure.
That's going to be
This is-
harder
this
for
is
you
the
than
argument-
this has been.
Rachel, this has been the argument I've been making from the beginning of the show.
Okay, tell me why tell me why people should have rights.
Because we have inherent value and worth.
According to who?
Regardless of gender or race or demographic. You disagree with that?
I didn't say I disagree with it. I'm
Okay.
saying I don't think, you say we should. I'm saying
We should,
I
yes.
don't care about what we should. I'm saying, I'm the one now saying I live in reality where things are actually how they are. And in reality, men grant rights and take away rights at will. And I don't think it's the correct way to look at history or the correct way to look at society to say everyone has a say, everybody has these rights, especially when you've detached them from duties, because you still haven't told me a duty women have to men. Men have duties to women, right?
Which ones? Name them.
Which duties to men have to women?
To women specifically, not to the country or anything like that. What duty does Brian have to any specific woman out there?
Well, I'm not talking about individuals.
No, I am talking about.
Okay. well, that's a different thing.
Really quick, can we define the terms here? Can we define duty and can we define rights?
Yeah.
Well, rights are just an entitlement absent duty. It's something that you just deserve.
Yep.
And women love to talk about what they deserve. The deserving. I deserve. Right? Women
also.
think of the world this way. This is a gender difference. Women think of the world as, but it should be, and I deserve. And men think of the world as, but it is, and nobody's coming to rescue me. Okay? That's an inherent difference.
Fantastic. Get to the second point. Define what is a duty that people have to one another. What is a duty that I have?
A duty is
what duty do I have?
A duty is
me
a
individually.
moral obligation to God.
Okay, me. Oh, to God. Okay, so we're getting religious
and
again.
via it being to God,
What
it's
duty
to
would
the
you
rest of
assign me
humanity.
to any man that exists out there right now?
You don't have an individual duty to an individual man because you're not married. But as a woman, you have a duty to society to do one of a couple of things. Either produce the next generation or support and help those who are producing the next generation in whatever capacity you can, if you can't do that. That's what women's duties to society are, because if we don't do that, society dies.
Oh, woo! Woo! Wait. Do I got a soundbite for that? I have to put a soundbite. Gotta put a soundbite. Let me see. Hold on, guys. Let me see. I mean, hell, I write this coffee thing. Beautiful. Either you're gonna produce the next era or the next produce more people, or you participate in helping cultivate the people that's already here, aka young people, children, young adults, all that stuff. That is your purpose, woman. But if you're not serving either one, you're just a waste. And society will eventually die in time. Well said, Rachel. Excellent. I have nothing against that, what she just said. She did a very good breakdown. Simple as apple pie. Who can refute that, guys? And the worst thing about it, you're not even officially covered by this man you're fucking. So that speaks for itself. All right, let's go.
Gotcha.
Everything collapses.
What if-
men have a duty to provide protection, infrastructure, all the things I've already talked about, because if they don't do that, we all die.
Okay.
Everything crumbles.
Okay.
That's what a duty is.
Yeah.
It's something we're obligated to do outside of ourselves, because if we don't, catastrophe ensues.
Fantastic. I know that we have duties as a society for it to function. However,
Yeah.
how are you going to enforce these duties on individuals, right, without basically trampling on their individual rights and their free will and what they decide they can contribute to society? Because, for example, yes, you have men that are carpenters, and that is how they contribute to society. They're electricians. There are men that have nothing to do with that. They're freaks in the sheets, and they're, finance nerds. How would you say that they fulfill all of these other duties of protecting women and protecting society? My argument is that we're all individuals, right? And we all choose how it is that we contribute to the society based on our individual strengths, what we're actually good at. And that is the most moral way of living, and that is what leads to the best societal outcomes, because we're not stifling human ingenuity or sticking them into boxes and telling them, women, you have to do this. Because imagine if women were all just mothers forever throughout history. I mean, like I said before, we wouldn't have refrigeration, we wouldn't have Kevlar, we wouldn't
That's
have...
not true.
We wouldn't have computers.
None of that's true.
And we
All of
wouldn't
those
have any of
things,
these
I'm guaranteeing you can look them up right now. Somebody send
Yeah.
some super chats debunking her nonsense that women invented refrigeration. It's going to be
The
something...
refrigeration systems.
Yeah,
yes.
it's always something like this. Oh,
Yes.
men actually invented refrigerators, but a woman invented this one specific part that kind of made it better.
Her name was
but her
Florence,
boyfriend actually helped her.
No, Florence part, if anybody wants
Okay.
to
Wait,
Google
might
that.
I ask a clarifying question? Is your position that, so you're saying that women invented these specific inventions?
Things. In her
Things.
case, technology for refrigerators, not the refrigerator. So
But
refrigeration system.
these things could not have spontaneously been invented by men absent women.
Yeah, they absolutely could. I'm saying this is reality. This is what happened. And imagine if we told women that, no, you can't do this. You can't.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't-
Imagine what would have happened if we wouldn't have let Florence, whoever, invent some kind of thing that went in a refrigerator that a man would probably invent a better thing anyway.
Yeah, you're
God
basically.
forbid.
But you see the problem with Miss Deandra, she's ticker and tatting that a man create the thing that you're consuming today, and you try to debunk and shit on it by saying, well, this woman created this special part to make it better. The whole point is the man created this refrigerator for you to consume, period. It was not a woman, it was a goddamn man. But you don't want to give kudos or jewels to that, because in your mind, you're in competition with men. And that's the problem. You ladies need to stop competing with men and just play your goddamn role, please. Thank you. Thank you. This ticker tack does not suit you. It doesn't make you better or even close as equal as men. So you need to stop it.
Stifling human creativity.
Oh, how dare
ingenuity,
I stifle? Listen.
And actual uses to society.
Do you
Again,
know what the fundamental difference is here?
Not everybody.
The fundamental difference is that I don't really.
Not everybody wants to be a mother or would make good
yeah,
mothers
let
either.
Rachel
Here's the
finish.
thing.
Let Rachel finish.
You care about each, and the reason is because you care about you, okay? You care about individuals and what the individual wants and what the individual makes them happy, because you want to pursue what you like and what you prefer and what makes you happy. It comes from a place of selfishness that you want to
How is it
defend.
more selfish for me to do what I want than it is to prescribe other people what they should be
Well,
doing?
because here's what
What the heck?
motivates me. Here's what motivates me. The reason I'm here, I don't give a fuck what adult people want. Adult women, I don't care. I care about what
Seems like you
I
really
care
care.
about what feminism has done to children. That's my primary beef with it. And if you go into the last chapter of my book, I go over all of the hell that we have unleashed on children who pay the primary price for us telling women, you don't have to do anything, sweetie. You just do whatever you want with your life and whatever makes you happy. And we're going to arrange all of human society around women and what makes them happy and how they feel. The people that pay the price for that is primarily children and secondarily everyone else. I don't care what you want to do for a career or what makes you happy.
I know you don't, and I don't care what you want to do with yours either.
You should care about the future of the human race.
Yep.
You should be producing the next generation, and you should be living your life in a way that is best for them, not for you. That's what I believe.
I do that. However, I see fit that
you
that
don't
would work
do
out.
that. You don't do that at all.
You know how I am doing that? By making sure that I have the right conditions to have children so that I don't give them a family that's going to be broken up in the future. I know you have experience with that, and it's very.
But the problem is, Deandra, you are going to break up the family, not your husband. When you talk about breaking up, what that tells you, you're in it for only a moment, temporary, because you want to have the keys, which most women do, pull the plug anytime you want. So many times I say, I don't want to break up or be in an actual way, just having a breakup. Women are breaking up these households, not men. So I'm not sure what the hell she's talking about that she's waiting. So there is a time when she is, in her mind, ready and comfortable and maybe secure with herself to go ahead and pop up some babies and don't walk off the man, allegedly. That don't make no goddamn sense. You're a woman, you're a typical woman that will sit there, might have your little small family, eventually will walk off for irreconcilable differences. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. Let's go.
Talking about you, because I don't want to make this about you and whether you're having children, because listen,
it is about the individual at the end of the day. And yes, we do benefit as a society if people fill different roles that need to be filled. But again, you are trying to put individuals into boxes based on gender roles, and gender roles do exist, and there's certain things that women are naturally good at.
It's like so over your head. It's like you just
naturally
won't
good
compute
at.
for
but
some
for
reason.
example, some women are just
if
not,
you die
some
tomorrow,
women
they're just going to fill your job. Some other blonde chick who looks good in a ball gown is going to go to the political dinner and take pictures.
That's not what I do.
You're not doing anything that's gonna leave a legacy after you're gone.
Okay.
You're not having an impact on society in that way.
Do you think every woman should be a mother?
Yes.
I disagree.
There's a few
I think that depends on the
instances.
Person's character.
There's
Some
a
women
few,
are just not motherly.
There's a few outliers. Listen, we can't talk about things on an individual level because there's always outliers. No, we can't, because you're the type of woman who goes, well, I would say men on average are taller than women. And you go, well, I'm taller than my friend Bob. He's 5'4" and I'm 5'6". That's what you do endlessly through this whole debate. You go, but what about this outlier? What about this person? It's like, are there a small subset of women who are not cut out for motherhood?
You've gone from denying.
Are you going to just yap the whole time and just talk about but my individual rights, and I think we should all ride unicorns down rainbows because I think that would be best. And
they would lobotomize you for hysteria just a few years back, Rachel. But
I don't think so. I don't think it would be me who would be having the trouble.
But again,
I think it would be you.
Rachel, now we've gone from I don't think women should vote, even though I do and I will. I don't believe women should
that's
have
not
financial
hypocritical.
Rights. And now
we already established that's not hypocritical.
Cherry on top, women should primarily be mothers because I say so.
No, because it's their duty.
And not.
Do you want to know why? Are you going to let me tell you why? You're just going to
finish.
Just going to endlessly yap about nothing. You've just been repeating your same 5 talking points for 4 hours.
And you've been doing exactly the same thing. But
here,
again,
make a quick point. But I do need to get.
Again, the whole point is that now you're trying to prescribe to women as a gender what they should be doing with their
Rachel,
personal
do let her
lives.
finish her point.
And I disagree with that. I think women can be multifaceted, multi-talented. They could be wives and mothers, and at the same time also contribute in other meaningful ways to society. That is reality, the same way men do it. Because imagine if I said, you know, we're going to divide men and women's roles from like what it used to be back in the Stone Ages or whatever. Women stayed home, cooked, cleaned, took care of the kids, and the men went and, you know, hunted woolly mammoths and whatnot. And right now, you know, the job that all men should be doing is going out and hunting woolly mammoths instead of using their creativity to I don't know, do different things that make modern life better. Again, you're trying to box people into certain things just based on what you believe in. And I disagree with that fundamentally. I am an individualist, and I think the more we allow people to be individuals, the more that they gift to society and helps us all advance, live better, have better relations between the sexes.
Let's do this.
That was
there will be
beautiful.
a little bit later on, there will be closing statements, so you guys can each lay out your final closing statements. But
Well, I just wanted to
we do have
clarify
some
one
chats.
thing. Can I say one thing before we go to chats?
Sure,
I'll make it brief.
sure.
No, I'm not an individualist, and the reason that I say women have a duty to have the next generation is because only we can. Men can't step in and have the babies. The reason we don't tell men, hey guys, we understand you don't want to do the dirty, dangerous, difficult jobs that could kill you. So, you know, it's all about what you want, men. You know, just stay home and play World of Warcraft. Sorry, Brian. Just, you know, do whatever you want and follow your dreams. We do not say that to men. If men,
What do you mean?
if men don't step in,
we tell men to
Hold
follow.
on,
Let me talk.
Let her finish.
all the
Let her
time.
finish,
if
please.
you're walking down the street with your boyfriend and a guy tries to mug you and he runs away, we as a society go, you coward, you piece of shit. You know, we shame the hell out of that guy and we go, you had a duty to protect her. If the politicians who are mainly men, if the president who's a man does not defend our country from foreign invaders, we say he sucks at his job, we fire him, we want someone else. We don't let men do what makes them feel good. We don't let men decide what they find fulfilling and follow their dreams. We only say that to women. We only say that to women. And we go, sweetie, you don't have to have a baby if you don't want to. You don't have to be a baby factory. And it's like, okay, if you're not going to, and all the other Taylor Swifts and all these girls are not going to, you think I'm going to do it by myself? You guys think that it's fine to go off and I'm going to have a glamorous career where I close the deal over brunch and some other lady out there can have all the babies. No.
Why can't you do both, Rachel? That's what I'm arguing.
Well, that's been my point. My point is I did that first for 25 years before doing this, and you're calling me a hypocrite for it. You're looking down on me for it. You're chastising me and calling me a hypocrite because you're like, well, you're out here promoting stuff. You're out here making money. You're out here doing things.
Because
Why are you doing
telling
that?
other women not to do what you did.
No, I'm telling them to do what I did. Do what I did. Have all your kids first. Raise them into adulthood. And then when they're big and grown, you know, I started at 20, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to start early in your 20s. And then by the time you're my age, 45, you're done having kids.
Aren't there risks?
Now you can go off and do other things because you fulfilled your duty to society as a woman. We say the same thing to men. We go, men, you have to protect and you have to provide and you have to do the manly things. And if you don't, we'll shame you into oblivion.
Okay, so you say that you did your duty as a woman to society by having kids early, starting at your 20s, and then, you know, had 5 kids, right? What if, well, first of all, there's risks that come with that,
There's
right?
risks for everything.
I know, but let me finish my point. You're prescribing women do this, but you're not telling them the negative things that happen from you doing that.
Oh, everyone else does. I don't have to because the whole world fear-mongers women about what could go wrong.
Get personal or chastise you personally,
One
but
point of
of course
clarification,
you
negative
had,
things of what?
she had, you know, 3 marriages, 2
No, I didn't have 3 marriages.
or 2 failed relationships, you know,
Yes.
children from the first 2
But
relationships.
the negative things of what?
and the negative thing is
She's saying
having,
something could go wrong. If you depend on a man and have kids, he could turn out to be a bad guy. And Rachel, didn't that happen to you?
And then you have
yes, it
a
did.
family that is broken up, and now you have to deal with a broken family with people outside of your current relationship. And I think that ultimately that is worse than women that wait a little bit longer in life, establish themselves, and then find somebody that
But
they're
you're
more
acting,
compatible
You're acting
with.
like those are mutually exclusive. And what happened to me
That's just
what happened to
statistics.
me was not because I was young or the guy I was with was young. What happened to me happened because those guys believed in the shit you believe in. They were libertarians. They were like, oh,
you
marriage is just a contract, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
but you
blah.
picked
And they
having
wanted
children
what
with them.
That's true, but because I was ignorant and I thought that shit was correct too. I thought like you when I was young, and that's where I made the mistake. When I corrected the mistake was when I realized, oh, if I want a family, which is all I ever wanted, I was not interested in dating around until I'm 32. Like, no thanks. I wanted to get married and have kids. I realized if I want that life, I've got to pick a guy like Andrew, who is a strong leader, a patriarch, a guy who's super responsible.
Now, for the sake of the conversation, she was married right before she met Andrew, so she's on her second marriage. So if she had to do things over again, she would find an Andrew Wilson first. But you gotta live and learn at a time. And she said she got abused, so we'll take Rachel's word for it for now.
A guy who is strong, a guy who takes care of me,
And you
not a
develop-
guy
you
who wants
develop-
to split the bills.
you
I picked
developed-
those split the bills
Rachel, you
kind of
developed
guys.
these ideas when? At what point in your life?
About 24, 25.
Okay.
About 25.
So
I
not
was still pretty, I was still young enough
So-
to
Hold on.
save
Okay.
it, you
Let
know.
me- I- let
but
me-
most women aren't.
And
we
again,
do hold
that's-
on. We do have to get some chats
Yeah.
coming in here. So we have Airborne Animal. Thank you for your message, man. Love the live exposure of this undercover leftist, feminist as a grifting, self-centered, opportunistic liar. Like all leftists, she immediately goes to race. Keep exposing them for who they are, not one step back. From
that's what that
Airborne
means?
Animal. So he's
Is that
calling
a
you a
Gen Z
leftist,
thing?
feminist, blah, blah, et cetera, et cetera. Quick response to that, if you'd like.
Again, you guys can put whatever titles you want on people that don't disagree with you. It does not make them true. I think, again, facts literally don't care about your feelings. But getting back to my point,
Well,
you
hold on.
prescribing.
There are more chats here, so let's get through the chats, and then, time permitting, you guys can get back to it. I find it hilarious you say you're a conservative when you do the very thing liberal feminists do when they get into an argument debate. Bird hands peck.
I'm Cuban.
Convinced women
is
are impossible
Hispanic.
to please at this point. Base Thor, thank you very
Liberal.
much for a message. Let's get through these red super chats here on the side. We have Alan Roach, thank you for the Australian 100. We are here to watch Rachel cook. Now, Driena, did I say it right?
Yep, for the 100th time.
You are fluent in Spanish, correct?
Claro que sí.
Is
Yes.
it your first language?
I think it's toe-to-toe with English. I was raised in Miami,
Can you
so.
translate all these super chats into Spanish for all the Spanish viewers of whatever?
Yes, I could, but I'm not going to because that'd be a waste of time. But
Well,
yes,
I mean,
I could.
just to be considerate, like we're
Such a hater.
We're very inclusive here.
Hating on your super chats,
Or
guys.
you can, after
We're very inclusive.
after this
and
live is
diversity
over,
and whatever.
you can turn on
The
the
auto-
captions. Yeah, the captions.
auto.
translate, correct. Be very
See,
inclusive.
she won't even accept her
Wow.
duty to translate for the Spanish-speaking audience.
I'm just trying
she's
to be
an
inclusive.
individual, and she
I'm trying to
doesn't
be
want to,
inclusive.
guys. You're out of luck.
We're trying
Yeah.
to bring it.
Any languages you guys speak outside of English?
I speak poor French.
Ah, un peu de français aussi.
C'est bien ça. We have Jim Bob Smith.
too.
Thank you very much. If guns are the great equalizer, tell me why there are 0 women in special forces, pararescue, MARSAC, Delta Force, SEALs. The gun is a tool. Men and men alone are the great equalizer.
Yeah.
I think
Men with guns cancel out women with guns. Sorry.
fantastic. That's true. That is true. But on one-on-one contact, that's
Yeah, it's
the-
all we've got. It's the only thing we've got.
That's-
So I'm a big gun advocate for women. I needed one at a certain time in my life for sure. So, but as groups, men with guns are always going to overtake women with guns. So it doesn't matter.
We have Josh here. Thank you for your super chat, Josh. The painful thing is the girl on the right doesn't understand the government allowed women to work to tax them.
That's exactly what I
She did
advocate.
She
say
did say
that,
that,
but
to be
she
fair.
still wants us to do it for some reason.
And still doesn't know the Bible. This has been painful.
Still doesn't know the Bible. That's funny. I started off my argument, my opening statement with, pointing the finger at the government for what we're seeing today and taxing and putting women into the workforce to tax them. So that is incorrect.
But the government was going to tax you anyway because you're used like a buffer shield. You go to work, he go to work, you got taxed because it puts money back in their pockets, not to the people. So regardless, you think that's a demonic thing, you women accept it. So you now accept your fate, which is 9 tenths time. You're not gonna have no man. You're not gonna start no families. You're gonna be too old to do much anything, and you're gonna want a man that's going to want more, have more than you. Good luck to that. Good luck to that.
Correct. You should go back and watch the whole
But then why
live.
do you want them to do it? Why do you want to give the government more tax money? Why do you want?
I don't.
Why do you want a smaller Native population and more taxes going to the government?
Who says that's the case?
If you're advocating for women to work, that's what you get.
I'm not advocating for women to work. I'm advocating for everybody to have a choice. And
Everybody always did have a choice, though.
I'm advocating to make it more attractive for women to want to be stay-at-home wives full-time. And I'm advocating for actual solutions, creating the economy to permit that to be the case. We haven't
Yeah,
talked.
the only way you
we
can
haven't
do that
talked
is
about
to
that.
get mothers out of the workforce. That's how you do that.
We haven't talked about that yet in the show, which is what are actual practical solutions to the current problem that we're seeing nowadays. And my prescription for that is men should take self-control of their lives, of their bodies, of their health.
Yeah, men don't give enough. That's the problem. The men don't give enough.
That's not what I
It's always more.
That's not what I said,
You just
Rachel.
always want more from the men,
That's
no
not what I
matter
said, Rachel. I want men to be happy and healthy, and right now they're not. They're depressed. I think a lot of that comes from
Them getting their asses handed to them in family court.
having access to pornography, which has never been the case.
Yeah, I agree.
As we see,
We should outlaw that
nowadays.
shit and tell women they can't produce pornography and give it to men.
That's your
and sell it to
prescription.
men.
That's your
Yes.
prescription for it, Rachel. I think
It
that
would work. Would it not work?
It would work, Rachel, but it's one, not going to happen. Two,
It is gonna.
Two, Rachel, the onus.
You realize pornography
Rachel.
was illegal up until the 70s,
Rachel.
right? It was always illegal. So why would it never happen? You think that just because
Do you
things have
think
been this way for
prostitution-
40 or 50 years that
prostitution-
they'll never go back, and that's insane. It's
Prostitution?
gonna go back. It has to go back.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then the onus is on the individual on whether they engage in these vices or not. Just like alcohol, right? Alcohol is available to everybody. Whether you engage in alcoholism is completely up to you, and
But
it is your choice.
That's different. Do you know
So-
how? Do you know how
so
that's
I'm-
different? There can be good beneficial uses for consuming alcohol. For example, at church celebrations, in the
That's not what I'm
sacraments.
talking about.
But
You
I'm
know-
saying pornography, there's never a good use for it. It's
Okay.
only bad. Therefore, you ban it. There's no such thing as like, a good amount of pornography.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so
I agree
you
with
ban
you.
that shit.
Unfortunately, the reason why I wouldn't is because when somebody that disagrees with me comes to power, they will
You've said that 100
they will
times.
subjectively-
Do you think heroin should be illegal?
They would subjectively
Do you want to
decide-
legalize heroin?
Let me finish my statement.
Okay,
They
I'm
would-
just going to drag you back to the
They
question.
would subjectively decide what they think is evil or not.
I
and then
know.
we're in
You've said this
problems.
over and over. Now,
It is just
should heroin
logical.
be illegal?
I think heroin is bad, and yes, it should be illegal.
Why?
But also,
Why?
But also,
But if we
again,
ban heroin, somebody else might come to power and then they might ban something else that we do want.
it's exactly actually what has happened. Anything that we've made illegal, there's been a black market for it.
Actually not
and,
true.
especially when it comes to the war on drugs.
Did you know that legalizing pornography increases human trafficking inflows into countries? So actually, when you legalize pornography and sex work, you end up with more human trafficking as well.
Okay.
There is no good, healthy amount of
I agree.
sex work or pornography. There's no reason
I
not to
agree.
ban it.
I
If
agree,
you think think we should ban narcotics, then you would have to be consistent and say we should also ban sex work and porn.
I agree, Rachel.
Okay, good.
Pornography, yes.
I
And
want to see you out there telling all the OnlyFans girls, stop it, you're not allowed. We're getting rid of it.
yes.
We're banning it.
And I also agree, with the whole war on drugs thing. I'm more of somebody that believes that should be up to individuals, natural selection, which is
So you want to
terrible.
legalize drugs?
I think that ultimately people are always going to find a
Okay,
way
do
to
you
get these
want to
things.
make all drugs legal?
I think it's irrelevant because people
I
are
don't think
still
it's
gonna do
irrelevant
it.
at all. We're looking for consistency
I
with you
think
here.
it is irrelevant because
If you think
they have been illegal, period, for so many years, and still people are dying of overdoses.
murder is illegal, and some people still commit murder. Does that mean we shouldn't have murder be illegal? Should we just legalize murder? Because, well, you can't stop all the murders, so we might as well. Do you understand that you're like not thinking it through?
No, one thing is you acting upon another individual. You consuming pornography or drugs only involves yourself.
No, it doesn't.
Do you see the
you just
distinction?
said.
Do you see the
you
distinction,
just,
Rachel?
Contradiction again. Another point for me. She contradicted
You killing
herself again.
somebody else is
you just
you
said
having an
that
effect on
men.
somebody else.
You just said men consuming pornography has a negative effect on the birth rate and women. It has a negative effect on relationships. Women
but
don't want to
primarily-
marry these men. It's affecting all of us. So the men need to stop doing pornography.
And primarily on themselves,
Yes.
which is what I'm trying to get at.
But it also affects all of society. And it's the same thing. Heroin, yeah, some people are still going to do illegal drugs. However, when you legalize them, like Portugal and different places have, the problem gets exponentially worse. This whole idea, it's a libertarian idea, once again, that, we just make everything legal and then, the idiots will just go die from heroin and the rest of us will live in a utopia. No, that's not what you find.
that's
What you
not
find
what
is
I'm
that in
arguing for
places
either.
that you legalize these vices, there's certain vices that maybe it could be good for some people sometimes, maybe it could be bad, so we permit them as like a necessary evil, maybe. Okay,
do you think
that's
that-
different than there
Okay.
is no good reason to have certain things be legal, like murder, like hardcore drugs, because heroin addicts don't just hurt themselves. That's a lie. They decay and destroy the rest of society. They steal from
agree.
people.
I agree
They
with
commit
that.
crimes.
You're preaching to the choir.
Then be consistent. I
am-
want to see consistency from you. You're
I am
like
consistent
So
in
should we
telling-
legalize heroin or not?
I am consistent in telling you that if we ban pornography because I believe that it's bad.
That's
and
not
is
why we're
immoral,
banning it. We're not
then-
banning it because Rachel doesn't like it. We're
then-
banning it because it's detrimental to all of society.
Yes, this is what conservatives believe. I agree. Liberals don't. And they will eventually come to power one day, right? We're not going to have
Well, yeah,
a
because we
monopoly.
keep letting women vote.
Okay.
That's how they get in every time.
Whatever, it's going to happen, Rachel. And then again, my whole argument is it sets the precedent on making things illegal, banning things, etc., that you don't subjectively like. That is why the onus.
But that's not true also.
Rachel, that's why the
So
onus
that-
is the.
You're also wrong about
the
that.
onus is on the individual. I don't understand why you are arguing so much against the individual taking.
Because I don't believe in that libertarian bullshit anymore. I grew up. I grew up and became a full adult. I have responsibilities to other human beings
Okay.
besides myself.
You're arguing
That's why.
against humans, men, women, whatever, not taking responsibility for their own actions.
No,
That's what you're arguing.
You still have to do that.
That's what you're
Okay.
arguing against.
If I can just
with
have
me
a
right
minute
now.
to debunk this ridiculous claims that you just made. So you said
that
if we
he can't shut his laptop right now or phone and decide not to consume pornography. That's what you're arguing against. It's very easy to
I'm
do.
not saying that.
You're taking away-
Alcoholics can stop drinking tomorrow.
Yeah.
Why not? Fat people can just stop eating.
Yes.
Yes, that's
stop
true.
trying to take away responsibility
I'm
from the
not.
individual.
I'm not, because even when things are
and
illegal,
telling the government to do it.
even when things are illegal, you still have personal responsibility.
Yeah.
How? Because there's people probably in this town right now doing hardcore illegal drugs.
Especially in California.
If they get caught, they are going to go to jail. That's their personal choice. That actually increases individual responsibility. When we take something that we know has a major negative effect on society and we say this is not going to be permitted anymore. we are putting maximum responsibility on the individual, because now we're saying, okay, if you do this, you get caught, there's consequences. You're going to jail, you're getting fines, you're going to have to go to rehab, whatever it is. In your libertarian utopia where we just go, it's up to you if you want to destroy all of society or not. It's up to you if you, because, okay, to throw your argument back at you, if we say we have to give individuals the choice to look at pornography, why?
No, I'm not saying we have to give individuals
You're saying
the
we have to keep
choice.
it legal.
I'm saying
You tried to say it was free speech.
I'm saying that the reason why we can't ban it is because it sets a dangerous legal precedent. Rachel, that's the only.
That's not true.
That's the
But
only
that's not true.
argument
Demonstrate
that
it.
I'm making.
Demonstrate it.
Because if we, again, put our subjective morality as a reason for
My morality is
creating
not
laws,
subjective. Yours is.
No.
Yes.
We believe that pornography is bad. Perfect, great, fantastic. If I try to put this into law when somebody else is in power, they're going to put something that I don't agree with into law that is based on their subjective
That's
morality.
everyone, though. Okay, so if you make
This is why we don't set legal precedents like that, Rachel.
we do though. You're just
Like one?
You're
Like-
wrong.
like what?
Yeah. So let me
Okay.
give you an example.
Please go ahead.
If when Trump got into power this last round, and he said, "I'm going to say no more trans kid surgeries," okay? And I don't know if they've actually passed a law or not. I don't remember. But let's say we did. We banned trans hormones and surgeries for anyone under 18. You can't do them. You're saying we can't do that because then when Democrats come to power, they're going to go, well, you made something illegal, so now I'm going to take away something you like. That is not how things work. We have
I will
that's
break
why
that down.
you that's
I'll break
why
that
you
down.
do what I'm suggesting.
It's a bad example.
The reason you do what I'm suggesting is because I have a moral epistemology and a framework that means what's immoral today is immoral tomorrow and 100 years and 1,000 years from now. It doesn't change according to the culture or according to people's opinions. That's why I don't want democracy, because democracy by its nature has to be progressive. You can't have conservatism in a democracy. What are you going to conserve?
We have definitely had
We don't.
examples
What
of
have we conserved?
conservative
What have we conserved?
conservative values in a democracy. Yes, we've
You
had
can
that,
hold
for
them,
sure.
but you're not going to win, because the whole point of it is to be endlessly progressing, endlessly going somewhere, right? So what have we conserved?
endlessly evolving. Yes, that is the nature of humanity.
Then you're
We-
not conservative.
We
Then
evolve.
you are progressive. That is the progressive mindset.
I am a realist, and things evolve, and so we evolve with it. What doesn't change are our values. And for example, saying that trans kids
This is blowing my mind right now. This is blowing my mind that you're letting these
children-
words come out of your
children
mouth and you don't see the contradiction.
making a law saying that children cannot be mutilated, have their genitals mutilated, or have their hormones altered with as minors has absolutely nothing. It's not an equal example to anything that I was referring to. We are
So
just.
if we make
we're
pornography
just
illegal, what do you think the Democrats are going to do?
You think the Democrats are going to force kids to have trans surgeries?
No,
Rachel?
you told me we can't.
Is that the equivalent, Rachel?
No, you're telling me, I'm doing an internal critique of your position. I'm saying your position is, well, we can't ban this thing just because we don't like it, which is not my argument. I'm not saying ban it because Rachel doesn't like it. I'm saying use a Christian moral objective framework that is universal for everyone and constant throughout the ages, regardless of the culture or anything else. It's unchanging foundation. You're saying, but Rachel, we can't do that because inevitably we're going to have a Democrat come to power and then they're going to get revenge on us by getting rid of something we like.
Not we like.
That's your position.
That is the
And
reality.
I'm saying
and
you-
I agree. And yes, that is the position that when you, yes, that's the only thing you've gotten right this whole time about what I've actually said. That yes, if we ban something we don't like because we morally disagree with it, then the left is going to do the same with us, and they are going to.
But your whole
and they're gonna
framing
ban our
is
free
we morally
speech.
disagree. I'm saying there's no disagreement. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Yes.
There are a universal set of objective morals that
Yes.
Christians believe in. The reason I want Christians in power is because they will legislate based
want
on an
Christians in power too,
unchanging universal standard. Well, if that happens, they're going to make pornography illegal. They're going to make sex work illegal. They're going to ban abortion. They're going to get rid of most of the drugs. They'll probably let you keep alcohol and maybe a little bit of weed.
The ones
Who
they
knows? No, just the ones that can be good and can be bad. Alcohol can be used in certain contexts for
it was me, I would ban everything personally because the state of America where we stand needs to be improved and needs a reshuffling and restructure of everything, not only infrastructure but people. So, if anything, I would say a ban would be preferable for at least 10 to roughly at least 20 years max. And the reason why I would say that will be a start is because when you're trying to compete against other nations, you can't do that when people are too much on, let's say, substance abuse and other things that distract them instead of focus in and trying to hone in to really be a little bit more productive, in my opinion. Now, that sounds like extreme, but if we talk about we living in very harsh and uncertain times and the potential that we might be we might be facing a collapse, especially in the West, we're going to have to probably do what's necessary to hopefully start reshifting America in regards to productivity and getting people back in right order. Hell, we got a reading crisis right now as I speak. Most of Americans right now are not reading at level. Did y'all know that? They said certain racial groups are not reading well, but if black people are not reading well, we know damn sure other racial group people, if they're not people from outside America that come here, are not reading proficiently. That's scary. So we need to do some drastic to really turn this around, in my opinion. But that's just a more extreme approach to really get people back in order. Let's go.
Bonding and social things. It's like been part of human celebration for a long time. The Bible itself says that wine is a gift from God. Wine isn't bad. Misuse of wine is bad. You can't say pornography is good, but the misuse of pornography is bad. Pornography is just bad.
I'm not making that argument in any way, shape,
I'm
or
saying
form.
you don't understand the difference between me
Yes,
saying
I
there's some things that are a tool that can be either used for good or bad, and
Yes, I'm not
the only
disagreeing
thing
with
that's
that.
bad is the misuse.
I'm
I'm saying there are things that are just bad, like sex work. There's no upside to sex work, no matter how much libertarians want to argue it. There's
agree
no
with you on that.
upside, so you make it illegal.
Okay, Rachel, how? How are you gonna, actually,
What do you
yes.
mean? Prostitution is illegal. What do you mean how?
OnlyFans is not illegal.
You ban it. So where I live
How,
in
Rachel?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I live
Are
in
you out there knocking doors?
I live in Texas where
telling
you can't
people-
access that stuff unless you can prove you're a certain age. And what that proves is that you can prevent people from accessing things the same way you make everything else illegal. If you have we shut down OnlyFans. We say you cannot operate in this country. There's other countries that have banned OnlyFans. And if we find a woman,
Which I think is good.
if we find a
Now
woman
let's see what
producing
happens.
pornography of herself, she's videotaping herself doing sex acts and putting it on the internet for people to buy, we put her in jail.
Okay.
That's how.
Which, you know what, would be, let's say I agree with you on that. Would you be okay also if you catch a man consuming pornography, putting him in jail?
Yes. So
okay,
we
that is
used
fair.
to have this.
And that is valid.
We used to have a
But
set of
most
laws
people
called the
don't.
Comstock laws.
Okay, so yes.
And if
Do you think the men-
if you caught a man
Rachel, do
with
you
Hold
porn,
on, let Rachel
if you caught a
answer.
man with porn on his computer,
You see the problem with Miss Driena Sixto, she really wants an even equal playing field. Men and women are not equal, bitch. Let get that for your goddamn head. There are already laws in place to really suppress the functionality and actual liberties of men here in America. Period. From the child support to the marital laws, and even go as far as any other laws that really affect men totally in this American system. So I'm not sure why you're so concerned about what we're putting harsh restrictions on women that we should put the same for men. Men are feeling the brunt of the United States social order in regards to laws put in place against them. Period. So I'm not sure why you think there's a tick attack. That's why you fight Rachel about this saying that, oh, you're going to do this to the men too? Make it as harsh as the men? No, bitch, we're not doing that. We're going to do it to you. You. And eventually, the men that already is affected by laws, they'll follow suit. It's that simple. This ain't no tick attack, free for all, where, things still go your way and then men, what about the men? No, we focus on you, chick. Get over your head. Let's go.
he would have to face some kind of legal punishment as
What
well.
percentage
We'd
of the-
probably do what we did with drug dealers, though, which is the dealers get a much higher, a much stricter punishment, and the consumers of it get a lesser punishment depending on how much.
What percentage do you think of the people that are watching, which are mostly male, do you think would go to jail or get punished for consuming
I think-
pornography?
See, right? She focused on men, and us, you ladies are consuming just as much, or probably not even the visual porn, but reading the porn as well. Can we stop this garbage?
Despite
Sure.
them agreeing on the chats and everything with most
Sure.
of what you're saying, but being hypocrites and actually consuming that kind of
Well,
stuff.
I'll tell you, I think that most of the men out there watching this, if they agree with me, there might be some that are like, no, I think it should be illegal. But the ones who think it should be illegal, if this got passed through the Congress tomorrow and they said, look, within 90 days, we're banning all pornography if it goes above a topless photo, if it's more than that, or
I
if
would
it's a
celebrate.
or if it's a sex act,
I would
I think
celebrate, yeah.
a lot of those guys would actually be really happy to have their access to that cut off. Because then they wouldn't have to struggle as hard with having it in their face all the time. Because the problem with it now, 100 years ago, pornography was illegal, but it was so hard to get a hold of. It was not easy to get
Yeah,
porn.
now it's at our fingertips.
Now it's the average child is first seeing it at the age of 11. And I think a whole ton of people watching this would breathe a sigh of relief to know that if the government banned it and just shut down all those sites and you had to do a whole bunch of stuff, you had to work really hard to get your hands on it. It would keep a lot of people from ever getting addicted to it in the first place.
Sure.
It would keep children from seeing it. And
Why
it would
hasn't
make
it
men
happened?
who struggle with it and they don't want to be addicted, but they're struggling with it. It would make it easier
we
for
get,
them.
according to you, we get our rights from men, right? Like what actually happens in society is
Men are
because
the guarantors.
it's
yes.
because
they're the enforcers.
men allow it or don't allow it. So
Yes, they enforce it.
if men, wanted to get rid of this pornography problem, they technically could. They
Yep.
have the numbers for it. Why has that not happened, Rachel?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's the same reason that the 19th Amendment got passed. It's the same reason that the liberal and progressive agendas as a whole have passed. And I talked to Joe Rogan about this when I was on his show. It's the beta males. It's the simps.
Do you
And
think so? You're calling the audience beta
No.
males and simps
not,
because
not the whatever audience. They wouldn't be
because
watching and
they're not
sending.
watching. Statistically speaking, you don't think a good percentage of them watch porn?
They might be, but I'll tell you, this is,
So you're
you
calling
asked
them
why the
beta
men,
males and
no,
simps?
no, I'm not,
Oh.
because you asked, why are the men allowing it? The men who are in power, the men who are in charge, why are they allowing it?
Yeah.
Because it's a little thing called they're called sneaky fuckers, and they are men who, as a mating strategy, they don't do well with women naturally, so they have to be like, hey ladies, I'm on your side. I love women's rights. I think sex work is real work. And they take all these like left feminist positions, and it's a way of making themselves seem undangerous so they can get close to women, become friends with women, and then the hope is that eventually you'll break up with your boyfriend and have a bad night where you're drunk and let him hit it. That's the sneaky fucker strategy. And a lot of wealthy nerds, during the progressive era, got a lot of power and a lot of money, and they wanted to tax women and all these things that we already talked about. And so they passed this agenda by pandering to women and pretending to be your
So
friend,
that's
pretending to
bad
care about you.
character of the men,
So
right?
now what we have is, because of democracy, women are voting in a lot of these more progressive males, leftist males, and women. So now we've got a bunch of women in government. We've got a bunch of leftist men in government.
You think
so there
most
is
women-
probably a lot of conservative Republican men who would ban and have tried to bring bills to the floor to ban OnlyFans, to restrict pornography. But they can't because the sneaky fuckers and the feminists go, that's not fair. You can't tell Sarah that she can't put her butthole on the internet for $5.99. You're denying her rights.
You think-
they argue on the basis of rights.
Okay, you think that a majority of women would be against banning pornography when pornography causes infidelity?
No, I don't
and
think a majority would.
And is the reason why a lot of relationships and marriages fail. I think most women would be in favor of banning pornography.
It'd probably be about a 50-50 split. It would
also because
it would probably
it's
be about a 50-50
Also because
split.
it's a minority of the population that engages in producing it, less than 1% of the population. So most women have no stake in the game. They could quite literally just, vote against
Kids
it.
are texting me even when I'm here.
Same thing with men. If a majority of men actually were against this, they could, unite and ban it.
Yeah.
But the reality that we live in, unfortunately, is that people are not being accountable to themselves, and that is why they're not even going to go towards the next step, which is making things
you're wrong, and
illegal.
I can prove it. You're wrong, and I can prove it. So. Pornography was illegal until really recently, until like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And Anthony Comstock was a conservative man in the government who passed the Comstock Act and the Comstock laws that made all that stuff illegal. Those people got pushed out of the government when we gave women the vote. When we gave women the vote, we got more leftists, more progressives, and females in government. And now in our government, we have a large majority of women, leftist, and moderate men and women who are going to argue against doing this, and we've shoved the actual masculine conservative men who would try to do this sort of thing off into the corner and told them, you can't do that because you're taking away women's rights.
Do you think men have do you think men's character is inherently good because of the fact that they are men, or that they should be respected because of the fact that they are men, or because of the way that they act?
Those are two totally different questions. So is men's character inherently good?
Why should women, respect men just as a result of them being men, when the majority of men don't respect themselves? And I'm saying majority because a majority of men do consume pornography voluntarily. So why would women trust these kinds of men to lead society, unfortunately, and make decisions that are, better for us? My argument is that, again, it comes back to the responsibility.
I know, but you asked me a question, so are you going to let me answer the question?
It goes back to the responsibility of the individual when it comes to all of these things. Because tomorrow they ban pornography, and the next day they're going to create some other kind of vice that people can go for.
That's such a bullshit. That's such bullshit nonsense. Like what?
And it is up to the individual to say no to it,
You're just going on a diatribe, and you're just okay.
No, Rachel.
You asked me a question. Can I answer it, or are you just going to woman prattle the whole night?
That's what you've been doing.
Just going
at a much higher tone,
you just
might I add.
Yeah, I have a loud speaking voice. I'm very animated. You got me. I talk like this all. Anybody who's seen me on any podcast ever knows, like, this is just how I talk.
Hysterical.
It's not hysterical. I'm having fun. I'm winning. I'm having a great time.
Sure.
I wouldn't do this if I wasn't having fun. This is fun for me. I'm having a great time. So no, I'm just enthusiastic. I'm passionate. That's not you're crashing out, Rachel. You're hysterical.
I'm glad you're
Everybody
having fun.
can watch this and they can all see it. So you're not gonna.
I'm glad you're
having
fun. If it were just a few years back, somebody like yourself,
untrue.
Somebody
being excited and happy and passionate is going to get a lobotomy. Yeah, I know.
Yep,
are you going to just keep repeating your same five things? Okay.
Both of us.
Can I answer her question?
Both of us, Rachel. Both of us.
This is just
let me let some
ridiculous.
chats come in, but we are coming up here on the 4-hour mark.
Yeah,
I wanted to just answer her question.
Let me know when are we closing.
But really quick
Okay,
before
all
you do that, because we are coming up on the 4-hour mark, are you guys wanting to get to closing, or we can continue on some more prompts? I'll leave it up to you guys.
All right, we're gonna stop here. We gotta stop here. I'm gonna say something before I conclude this, because Miss Sexton has a problem with men consuming adult content, right? My answer to this, and the answer to you, sweetie, is go find and date a woman. And I said respectfully, because your focus is not a focus that you should be doing as a woman. Your focus, if you're finding a mate, he should do one or two things. He should be able to love you the best he can, provide the best he can, and protect you the best he can. All this other stuff about him consuming adult content, all this nonsense, is it's weird to me. I find it very weird. But the amount of sexists out here in America, and these women are doing delivery, it's very weird to find that you want men to really have self-control, not consume or watch or see women. And no, this is in men's nature. Now, I say to most men, personally, if the woman not even giving what you want, you better find another different woman, period. And the woman's problem at here in America, that yeah, a good travel outside the country will help that, fix that ASAP. Because outside this country, they don't think like Miss Sexton, and she is a unfortunately liberal feminist Hispanic. You think a Hispanic women are concerned what she think about a man's consuming adult videos? Absolutely not. But that's her focus, and it makes me wonder: is your man secretly watching adult films? Because it seems to me that's what he's doing. Because you concern and complain about this dumb shit. I find it you're the weirdo right now. Because last time, as a man or any man, we're not complaining about what you ladies are doing. The only thing I don't like about what you women are doing is you're not acting and moving like you should be as women properly when you're around certain men. And going back and forth, talking, over talking, and talking more than a man is a problem, in my opinion. And really, at age 33, probably she's about to turn 34 right now. You don't have no time to waste, baby. You're on the clock. You are at the wall stage. Once you hit 35 next year, you're going to hit the wall. And if this man is not giving no babies or he's putting a serious ring on it, I'm not sure what conversation we have with you. What we talking about? You should be focusing on trying to get your situation better as a woman. And you're not doing that. You're focusing and you're complaining about men should be just as harsh punishment as women. Men should stop doing this, that. No, that's out of your control, bitch. Your role is to do what you're supposed to do as a woman and either produce children for the next or great population, or how can I say this? You should be producing children to perpetuate the species, or you nurture the children here. And be honest, I prefer you rather just have the children instead of nurturing, because the way how you move and speak, I don't think you should be in the business having conversations with children or nurturing children with how you move. I'm sorry. I just don't see you're the right woman for that. In any case, guys, that's it for me. What's your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. This is a long one. I might have to do another part of this to wrap this up, but the conversation so far between Rachel and Deandra is pretty solid. And Rachel is constantly putting her foot down the throat of this woman, respectfully. So that's it. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for watching today's stream. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to follow my social media links in the description below. Thank you again. And to next time, and I mean to next time, to the bottom of my heart. Chaos reign.
They like the chaos.
They like the chaos. So when you're able to
Chaos. They like the chaos.
They like the chaos. So when you're able to
Chaos.
let that chaos reign with
Chaos.
let that chaos reign with
Chaos.
let that chaos reign with
Must reign.